Well, I understand I got a lot on my mind, a lot on my chest.
What's going on, everybody? Lloyd Jones with Midnight Comics, and of course, the Indie Breakdown, the show where we break down your favorite indie comic book characters' power, stats, and abilities, and get them ready for an indie versus matchup. Today, we're going to be talking about the Nexus matchup, or rather, the Nexus event that took place, where 5 heroes were tasked with taking on Arg and Krill. They have several objectives, but this time, I'm not alone. I am joined by the awesome hosts of the Super Breakdown. They're going to come on and introduce themselves, and then we're going to dive right in to essentially whether the heroes were able to complete that objective and save the day. What is going on, gentlemen? Let the people know.
Hello. Welcome to Nice Good Collab with the TSB crew and Indie Breakdown. Lloyd, thank you for having us.
For sure.
I am the one, the only Power Maximus, and we're here with everyone's favorite demigod, as always, Lord Triage.
What's up, gentlemen? How y'all feeling?
Doing good.
It's been a long time coming.
Absolutely.
There's been
like literally a year plus. Yeah,
a year plus since the last time we was on the same platform together. Oh, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I am okay. So I know we talked sidebar before, or either today or yesterday. We was like, we got a lot to say about this matchup between all the characters. Of course, as you guys know, we dive into these. We talk about, obviously, we go do a brief over the objectives, and then we dive really into the information that we have available for the characters. And then we talk about what did they decide their plan was. And then we reveal, once we go through all of that, we reveal what the enemy, Argan Krill's creator, said, how their character is, what their plan was overall, and find out if the heroes, walking in blindly into the scenario as most heroes do, did they take the proper precautions to take on any potential threat that Argan may have. So yeah, we'll dive into that in just a second. So I'm excited. On the, just taking a glance at it, how are we feeling overall? Do we think they have what it takes with the characters that you guys have seen so far?
So for me, taking a look at him, I'm like, Krill's a problem. He's a problem.
Yes.
So if I was to put it in Marvel or DC terms, I would say Krill would probably be an Avengers level threat, or at least close to it. Yeah. With his levels, and we took a look at the database, power stats, abilities. We took a look at their power stats, and if you don't mind, I'm gonna throw up the power stat sheet here just as a reminder for everyone what we're looking at here. So we're looking at their strength, their speed, intelligence, their fight ability, durability, energy, projection, and their agility. And this man is clocking out at pretty much top tier on all these boards. From he's either between a 6 on any of these to an 8 in any of these, which is ridiculous.
It's absolutely insane. For anybody that's watching that, wants to kind of glaze over, kind of look over these stats, if we're moving too fast or anything like that at any point, you can visit indiebreakdown.com. Head on over to the database. We are talking about the Nexus characters. So yeah, we'll be starting from the top on there. To give an idea, do you have the tier 1 on there as well by chance?
I do not have the tier 1 on here.
No, that's perfectly fine. So the tiers, of course, are broken down by several factors. And again, anybody that's watching that, that you actually want to see the graphic and stuff, indiebreakdown.com has all of that for you. Of course, we have 10 tiers, right, ranging from normal to extra dimensional. Krill is somewhere right in the middle at nuclear level, right? So he's already a problem, again, hence the overall name. But specifically, right, if you look on his card, he has 1 dot, right? So he's nuclear level, but what does the 1 dot mean? On the graphic, you'll see that he's actually has mountain level destruction, right? That's just base mountain level. That's the output that he has going on, right? And so what I'll do, would you like me to share my screen really quick and show the cards and stuff? Is that
okay? Absolutely. Yeah.
Right, let's get it. And actually, of course, my page is refreshed. I had the stuff up for the characters and stuff on Facebook. Okay, and then I'll do the database and show Krill and stuff while you're getting that. Okay, all right. Let's do this. So,
screen share.
I'm excited. This is gonna be good. Hold on.
All right.
And then I will show Krill.
All right. Yeah, I got the tier list here as well.
Perfect. Okay.
So
So here's what we got going on with Krill, right? So again, we talked about he's a nuclear threat. So you see that represented on the front card on the top. But let's go over each and every one of those stats really quick. So Power went over just a little while ago in regards to, again, those power stats, right? He's not he's a powerhouse, right? So his strength sits at a 7, right? What does that mean? He can lift up to 100 tons. Point blank period. This is not even, and to give an idea again, this is not even one of those kind of balls to wall situation, right? This is just where he sits at casually, right? So his intelligence, he's no slouch. He's a 6, which means he's a super genius. So he's not just a random villain of the week. He's got the strength and the intelligence to back it up. His speed is at a 7. He's moving at warp speed. Now, looking at him, I would not have assumed such, but regardless, right? Creators say he's moving at warp speed. I don't think any of the characters, and we'll go over them. I don't think any of the characters that are on in this matchup is moving that fast. And you know, I may be incorrect here, but I am concerned about that speed aspect. His durability is a 7, which puts him, according to the database in the power sets that we have, he's virtually indestructible.
and that I see that being a problem later on.
I don't know if anybody's counteracting that. I don't know what, maybe the Verdant Mother, and we can talk more about that in a second. Maybe her, maybe she has some sort of kind of a ability that can work around that, but I don't know. Agility, he's sitting at an 8, which is absolutely, it's literally reality breaking. Can exist in multiple places at once and move when time is frozen.
Madness.
Madness, exactly, triage madness.
Between agility and speed, I don't imagine any of those characters stacking up to that. And again, we'll look at if anybody has any magic, any kind of, again, hacks abilities, if you will, that we can call it. I don't, just on the onset, and sidebar, also not really sidebar, but I personally think he scales above nuclear if he's
he's almost tier 0. I would say real close to tier 0.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So he moving at a speed. He moving at a speed like he got a warp drive inside his chest.
Right. Like, what in the world? So yeah, he is definitely, quite certainly, next level. The last 2 items for him would be the energy projection at a 6. He's able to discharge multiple forms of energy. And then last but not least, his fighting ability as a 6. He has mastered several forms of combat. So yeah, he's a problem. There's not really much Jesus. It's not really much. There's not really much these guys could do, but we'll dive into that. Did you guys want to go over the other characters, or what y'all want to do? Did y'all want me to do that, or y'all got it?
Yeah, so real quick, I also want to touch on his powers, not just his power stats, but his powers. The control over various insects, the corrosive, I think that's supposed to say venom. Flight, body morphing, and manipulation. He has 360-degree range of view. He has a sleep induced.
I don't have a blind spot.
Right? It's sleep-induced pollen in his wings when he flaps, psionic disruption, hive mind, and intellect, which we have. Well, I believe me and Triage have a few questions about the hive mind and how it works. He can use sleep-induced vibrations. Not on top.
I'm unsure of what exactly, but I have assumptions. I do have assumptions on those, but
yeah, which makes sense. I feel like it's equivalent of like him vibrating at a speed, releasing a vibration at a speed that can shut down the brain, because there are those, those certain vibrations that help, settle down the brain. So I think that can definitely be one. Triage, is there anyone specific that you wanted to go over?
Well, the person who automatically caught my interest was forgive me if I'm saying this incorrectly, is Forecast.
Forecast, yeah, okay,
yeah, I could bring up Forecast here. So taking a look at forecast here, he's sitting. If we want to break him down, we got forecast sitting at a 4 when it comes to his strength. So if I'm not mistaken, that means he can lift 800 pounds to 25 tons.
Mm-hmm.
And then give me a second. I'm just trying to move my screen around here. Move over to intellect. He is a 3, which means he is learned. So can you explain what learned means?
So essentially it's, of course you have average intellect, right? Okay, he finished school, right? So learned is more like he went to college, right? Like he understands what he's doing, even in regards to his powers and just kind of general life, right? But he's not like, again, he's not going to end up being a tech genius. He's not going to end up being he's not working at what's that place in Marvel? He ain't working at the Future Foundation. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So but he could probably get a job better than the Bugle, right? Where it's like,
he not flipping burgers.
Right, he's not flipping burgers, right? So,
all right.
So yeah, that's kind of the range, right? Where it's like, yeah, he excelled in college, but he's not.
Yeah, slightly above average, essentially.
Right. Very slightly, very slightly.
Very slightly, damn.
I mean, discounted like that. But yeah.
But no, first off, his powers off rip, the weather manipulation, that's that. I think I feel like we can get creative. The heroes can definitely get creative. Right. But let's take a look at his speed. So his speed is a 3. So he's superhuman speed. So he's hitting 400 miles per hour up to 700 miles per hour. Sorry. So he's no slouch. He's keeping up with the best of the speedsters. So but 700 miles is pretty crazy.
Breaking, I'm concerned. reality breaking in more than one place at a time. But to your point, with weather manipulation, there is some hope, right, to potentially down, right?
Well, the thing that I was trying to do, sorry, I didn't word it well, was I was comparing him and someone else, and that was Damien. Because I think if they use their abilities in conjunction, that's where they're going to be able to put up a fight.
Yeah. Agreed. No, and Damien is high up in tier too.
Yeah, he's on the same level as Mother Verdant. He's cosmic level.
Which sidebar on that, with one dot on that, he's a 3A. So in regards to the dots and stuff on there, it's A, B, and C. Since A is first in the alphabet, that's why we went with 1 on there, right? So 3A is the strongest level, which he has universe level destruction. So he should, or at least that's what he scales to, or is comparable to, that he had, the potential output that he could do. That's what he sits at. But if you got somebody that's virtually indestructible, how far does that go? And we'll have to cross-reference that with, the durability level, so on and so forth. So, we'll dive in a little further there in a moment. But yeah, him and the Verdant Mother are in the exact same weight class when it comes to that as well. So.
Absolutely. So yeah, let me jump back here to forecast real quick, just so we can finish off breaking down like his the rest of his power stats. So on that durability level, and I feel like this is one that I personally am going to really kind of focus on a lot while as we go through this. Because I think the hero's durability is really what is going to give them that level of wherewithal to stand up against a character who is, lifting. Well, he was a 7. Krill's a 7 in strength, so he can lift up 100 plus tons. So I'm just saying, if you got somebody whose durability is sitting at a 1, he one punch is gonna fold them.
One punch, right? It's game over, bro.
Game over. So with his durability, he's sitting at a 4, which means he's regenerative properties and difficult to permanently injure. So is that on the level of just like him piccoloing, just regrowing an arm, or
I don't believe that he's at that level. I think it's more like how, and if Jermaine, if you're in here, of course, please definitely provide further clarification, or if anybody's in here that could reach out to him during the course of this live and acquire that additional information, please do. But My assumption, based on what we've seen of the character, how he's been discussed in previous battles or what have you, I'm thinking more along the lines of, say, a Deathstroke, right, where he has that kind of light regenerative ability, where it's not necessarily like he's bringing back an arm, right, but it's going to take a lot to pierce that, and even still, there is still that kind of function. I don't think it's going to be as good as a Wolverine or Deadpool at all, right? Or I have even a better example. I got this clarification from Lyle in regards to Watchmen, where he has a type of healing factor, right? And that anything short of a grenade, right, he'll be able to come back from that. A good example is in issue 2 of that, he got stabbed in the leg with a metal spear, if you would. He was still limping for a while, but it was actively healing in the following panel. So, well, I guess in regards to how fast it healed, I guess it would be closer to a Wolverine in speed, but to the dramatic level of bringing an entire arm back or entire limbs and stuff back, I don't believe Forecast is on that scale at all. So somewhere in between those two, but I would definitely say somewhere akin to how they describe Deathstroke's very light healing factor.
Okay. So now when we taking a look at agility, like as we just saw that Krill is on a whole nother level of agility with reality breaking, but we have Forecast sitting not too far behind with
relativistic.
So he's dodging light speed attacks. So I think he might have something. He might have something there that combined with the two of the other heroes' abilities. I think that right there, that might give them the edge, a part of the edge as well.
I agree.
So energy projection, he's sitting at a 4, medium range and duration, one single energy at a time. So I'm guessing lightning.
That's unfortunate. And I didn't mean to interrupt. That's real unfortunate in regards to that, because if he could combine that, right? Like if we're talking about like an ice tornado, you know what I mean? Like
fire tornado,
lightning rain, you know what I mean? Stuff like
right?
That would be like okay, like but like a single form, I feel like with the character of Krill being so smart, he's gonna peep. Oh, you can only do one at a time. You know what I mean? You can only shot these one at a time. So that's gonna be a problem. But again, like you said, he has his teammates, so there's hopes. There's definitely hopes there. So
I feel like they would most definitely have to really work as a unit. They have to work as a unit. And then when it comes to his fight ability, master of a single form of combat, that made hurt him a little bit.
Yeah, it ain't no might. I definitely agree. It will. Like that's, especially we have somebody that's a master of several, right? And one could argue like, okay, but he's a master of one. Like all of his knowledge is in that. He could definitely be formidable because of his, obviously that knowledge and experience with that. But again, when we're using the verbiage of masters in this realm, right? This is not. This ain't Bruce Lee, right? Where, you know what I mean? Like, it was just like, you know what I mean? Like this, you're talking about your Lady Shivas. You're talking about, your Batmans, if you would, who knows all the different forms of martial arts. He's kind of cooked. It's done.
So, if you want, Lloyd, I'll let you break down. I believe shares your. How do you say her name?
Ali.
Okay. So I was right. All right.
So she, bless her heart. The people voted her in. I did not. This is not a match for her. I'm not even gonna hold you. So she is she's a tier 9. She is on the superhuman class, and she is the weakest version of superhuman. She is peaked enhanced human at the Olympic level. A little backstory: she is in high school still, or graduating high school. She's an aspiring bodybuilder, right? Backstory aside here, we'll dive into the powers and all of that. I do have her at a 3 right there. And forgive me, I was squinting a little bit because I could not see to save my life. Hold on. Let me bring this in. There we go. Yeah, so she is at a 3. So she is lifting twice one's body weight. Okay. Her intelligence, she is average intellect. I mean, she's just now graduating. She's, her focus is on, she works out. She's doing her sports and stuff like that. Not that that's, not that you can't be, a genius or anything and be, a bodybuilder, but you know what I mean? She's not exactly going down to MIT or something like that, right? Next up, we have speed. Speed, I mean, she's a regular person, y'all. She's running normally, right? 25, 30 miles per hour. Again, Olympic, kind of situation in regards to stats, right? Peak physique. When we look at durability, she's at a 3, enhanced with efficient healing, right? Because again, for the most part, she is in that physical prime almost, right? But again, she's bodybuilding. She's actively getting it in. So just a tad bit normal, more over the normal resistance. And of course, we'll talk about the weapon and the properties of it. That's kind of adding that extra little boost, if you would.
Yeah, I'm interested in that because I saw that and I'm like,
right,
interesting.
So here we go with Hack's abilities, right? So agility, she is probably the slowest out of everybody on this list. She's sitting at a 3, or at least agile, I should say, rather. She's slightly enhanced, or enhanced as it says on here, so she's beyond human limits, right? Can dodge thrown items and arrows, and by human limits, it's really just saying like she can dodge better than me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not necessarily dodging arrows, especially if I don't see it coming. It's game over, right? Next up, we have her energy projection. None. She has no energy projection. And her fighting ability is a 3, so she has some training. There is a little portion in the story to come where she does learn how to essentially wield that weapon in order to take on several demons, monsters, and entities, if you would. So let's talk about the weapon. It's an enchanted weapon, which I see that I have a typo on that. Several typos here I need to fix on Krill's and on this here. But her enchanted weapon is the Bladed Whip of Cachexia, which is essentially it causes muscle atrophy, the short version of it. But to read the description on there, this weapon slices through almost anything, and if it's a living thing, the energy from it is given directly to her, transmitting directly into her body, acting as a steroid, while the victim suffers from, as I stated previously, muscle atrophy. So there is hope if she manages to somehow, through strategy or just plain plot armor and luck, if she does manage to cut through his skin.
See, that's the question I was going to ask. So she would have to cut through him.
Yes, and so the only thing, so it is an enchanted weapon. It's more of a magical property situation, so it relies on more than just it being sharp. And it was created by the Inanna, right? I could talk freely about that. Don't want to spoil stories, but Inanna created and gave her this weapon to her, and she is known in our actual lore and kind of what we pull from. She's a goddess of war, right? So again, magical property, she scales pretty high, right? So I would dare say that with the magical properties on there, she could potentially slice through them. However, the downside is she's still a regular person. She cannot perceive these speeds that they're moving at, right? And again, this guy was a master of several martial arts forms. He's going to be able to maneuver around this, whether he had the agility or not, right? So again, whether it be plot armor, whether it be strategy, whatever the case is, it's going to be a stretch for her to be able to pull off an attack against this guy. So unfortunately, it's Midnight Comics' own character, but I cannot give her a vote of confidence in this situation. So,
well, damn.
just being honest. Again, we're talking about a regular high school student against somebody that is moving at what did we say for his agility? Reality breaking.
Yeah, reality breaking.
Hey. Oh, I mean, a billionaire from Gotham City, all he needs is prep time. I mean,
no. Wait. One quick question, Lord, can we swear on here?
Yeah, everybody's grown here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. True. You already know what we say about that. What we say about that?
Prep time.
Yeah, prep time.
It's garbage, man. Like we could have a whole Batman rant, but geez, there's got to be a stopping point. Okay, wait a second.
Yeah,
this is indie breakdown. Yes, brief mainstream tangent. The moment I saw that screenshot of Catwoman being able to hit all 3 flashes while they were running in circles around them, I don't care how much they were suppressing themselves. If it was enough to leave some sort of after image, there is no way that Catwoman should be able to perceive and hit all 3 of them before they can react. And we know Batman scales above Catwoman.
I don't know. I feel like
The wild part is I don't even know what he's talking about. I absolutely agree with that. That don't even make no kind of fucking sense.
It's garbage.
None.
I'll have to send you guys a screenshot. I think I sent Lonzo the screenshot.
Yep.
Lonzo,
He's right. Yep, he in here.
Yeah, Lonzo, the ones that we're talking about, the Nexus match that we posted on Wednesday, where we had those 5 heroes getting ready to duke it out against Argon Krill. Those 5 heroes being Damien, the Verdant Mother, Alexandria the Great, Ali, and Forecast. And again, they're going against Argon Krill. So we're talking about the event from this past Wednesday. We've already discussed Ali, Forecast, and Krill himself. And we're about to start discussing Damien. We had a small tangent talking about the foolishness that is Batman.
Foolishness that is DC at this point.
That is
honestly
right. So yeah. So Jesus, Power Creep. Anyway.
Yeah,
back to Indy.
Yeah, Triage was interested in Damien as well. I am too, because first off, just off this image alone, this art is wicked. Yeah, like I feel like this alone gives a very good picture of how strong he is. It exudes like his strength.
Yes,
it's pretty sick.
Is his stats going to go ahead and correlate with what he looks like he could do? We're about to find out.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. Triage, are you able to pull up the power stats, the power stat guide? Do you have it on your side?
Oh,
did he drop out? No, he's still there. Well, taking a look at Damien here, he is, yeah, he's something. He's definitely something. And to be the same age as you said Ali, yeah, that's crazy.
It's insane.
So if we take a look at his strength is sitting at a 7. So his strength wise is on par with Krill's.
Mm-hmm.
So he's lifting 100 plus tons. His intelligence, he's gifted. He's gifted. So he's definitely, he's above average. He's high IQ. But let's just hope that high IQ relates into a high fight IQ as well. For those of you who watch anime, we talk about Goku and stuff like that and how high his fight IQ is. I usually really hear that a lot more when I'm talking about anime. Should hear that a lot more when we're talking about comic books as well. I want to start hearing about fight IQ as well. But his durability, and again, I'm harping hard on durability. He's a 6, which means he can withstand poison, extreme temperatures, and concussive attacks. So that may play a very strong role in his survivability against Argon Krill.
You know what I just thought about? Not to interrupt on this part, but what I just thought about is, of course, with Argon Krill being a 7, like that includes everything that came prior. So we haven't talked about the Verdant Mother, but like we kind of looked over a little bit of what she could do, and now I'm definitely even more so concerned because will those attacks that she does have access to that could have been a problem ordinarily, will it have any real effect on Argon Krill? But even more distressing, right? The eggs that he's placed, in that cave as well. So anyway, I guess we'll find out when we get over to her. Oh, yeah, Lonzo. So these gentlemen are from the Super Breakdown. Yeah, go ahead and reintroduce yourselves right quick.
Yeah, so I'm Power Maximus, the Red Wolf himself, up at top, red and black. That's what I do. And we are here with everyone's favorite arachnid demigod, Lord Triage. You there, Triage?
I am here. I am everyone's favorite demigod, as he said. I am a level 7 and a comic book collector and enthusiast.
Absolutely. Yeah. So definitely, first off, it is, as we said before, it is great to be on the Indie Breakdown. It's going to be amazing. I enjoy doing this. We've been trying to get into a collab with you guys for a while. Now we're here, and honestly, thus far, we only about 30 minutes into this thing, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Spiff Nation, what's up? How y'all doing?
And for everybody that's watching, the hope is in the future, these are the voices that you guys are going to hear discussing the matchups every Saturday. Whether it's the events, the matchups, stuff like that. We'll probably tag team the events, but the matchups as a whole, whether it's the Reckoning or Nexus on Saturdays, you guys will be hearing their voices soon, discuss the matchups, their thoughts, their verdicts, so on and so forth. So hope you guys are enjoying them and get ready because you're going to see a lot more of them. But also, I definitely want to make sure that you guys know that they do have their own show on Sundays. If you guys want to just dive into that in this small little intermission here really quick, dive into y'all show what you guys do there. And then again, we'll jump right back into the matchup at hand.
Yes, absolutely. So for us here at the Super Breakdown, it same thing as the indie breakdown, but we like to break down mainstream comic book characters as well as pop culture icons. This past month, we just did our movie Monster March. So we went through every Sunday. We watched all these old monster movies. We went over Godzilla. We went over John Carpenter's The Thing. We went over Mimics, the 1995 Species 1 and 2. I think we touched on 3 a little bit there too. And then we rounded everything off with going over Tremors. But that's just a little bit of what we do. We've done character breakdowns from Marvel to DC to Image Comics to Milestone Comics as well. And we also do versus battles as well. Like Lord just said, like Lord just put in the comments there. We also did a Riddick versus Dread breakdown as well, versus battle. That was fun. TMNT, we broke down Power Rangers, broke down Ninja Turtles. Lord Triage here is an avid Turtles fan. Day one Turtles fan. So we pride ourselves on our pop culture, both of us being 90s babies, which I feel personally, I don't know about nobody else, but personally I feel like the 90s was the pop of pop culture. 90s put the pop in pop culture for me. But yeah, that's what we do at Super Breakdown. We are live on Kick, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are on the East Coast, upstate New York. What's up, y'all?
Thank y'all for thank y'all for being on here. Thank y'all for doing this. Oh, nice.
Yes, yep. Heartline Comics. Shout out to you guys too. Love you guys' work. You guys' art is absolutely amazing. Absolutely
Super
amazing.
Dope. Super dope.
Oh, I love this.
Oh yeah. By the way, go check out their barcode collection. It's pretty dope.
Okay.
Oh man. Right. But yes, so let's take a look at Damien here. He is, like, as we were saying, I think he's one of the ones I feel like may turn the tide in this battle. Again, and it is all based on, in reality, how these characters work together.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you really got to work as a unit when you're going against a character like this. Let's see, where did we leave off? We left off on his agility. So he's sitting at a 7 in agility, which
relativistic now.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So he's just under. I feel like he's one of the ones that's really close to being on par with Krill, which means he can react and move at near speed of light. So that's pretty pretty impressive right there. Moving on to fight ability. I'm sorry, no, energy projection. He's sitting at a 6, which is a lot better than some others on the on the list. But he's able to discharge multiple forms of energy. So I'm interested to see, because we have pyrokinesis and as well as electromagnetism. I wonder what other forms of energy he's able to use. And again, I'll get into that later because my mind works like a damn supercomputer sometimes. But now we're looking at his fight ability. He's sitting at a 4. So he's an experienced fighter. So combat level, he's not really, I personally feel like he's not going to be able to be on par with Krill. But again, we have some other heroes on this roster that will be able to.
Yeah. So in comparison, he feels more like, I mean, he's an experienced fighter, but forgive me for saying he'd be more like a brawler in comparison to the master of multiple forms of combat in the form of Krill here. But yeah, at least again, he's not Ali, right? Like that's yeah, goodness gracious. Yeah. No, I guess he's only one rung up, right?
But now we also have to worry about his weapon too. And the work that he can do with his weapon. I do not know how to pronounce it. I'm not going to try.
I'm not either. But you guys can read it and make your assumptions on how to say it. And again, if Mark Glaive is in here. Please, definitely.
Mark, we're the real Mark Glaive. Please stand up.
Yeah, facts. So yeah, if you can provide any insight, and if anybody in here has any further insight about these characters, so on and so forth, please impart that knowledge onto us as well, so we can put that into consideration by the time we get these verdicts at the end of these matches here.
Absolutely. So now we moving on to the Verdant Mother. Oh man, I'm interested in this character a lot. Very interested in this character. So let's take a look here. Let's see who is the creator of Miss the Verdant Mother.
Yeah, so that is from Ben and Manisha of Dyson Dopeness. So that you guys might recognize the name Ben. Ben is actually the one that will be doing these events in the future, or definitely more the D&D events that we have planned. More in depth than these kind of side events that's happening. So you guys might, again, you guys have heard and talked to him in the past. He's actually one of the judges here in the group as well, for some of the one-on-one matches that have taken place. So very much active in the group and stuff like that. You guys should know that name. So yeah, they're the creators of that character.
Absolutely. So let's take a look here. So running up back to the beginning where we were working on the strength here, she's at a 5. So she's lifting between 25 to 75 tons. All right. So that's a lot. Still not 100 plus tons, but that's still a lot. Right now, intelligence wise, she's a super genius. So she's sitting there on par with him. Super genius. We can run, she's going to be able to run that intellectual fade with him really nicely there. Now taking a look at the speed wise. Now this is interesting. She's working at supersonic. So she's hitting Mach 2 as well, like orbital velocity. So she moving. Now let's head down. We're taking a look at her durability though. So again, I'm harping hard on durability because with somebody that
they're
like can hit like as if getting hit with a planet. Yeah. No, you gotta make sure. So she is also virtually indestructible with sitting at a 7. So she's on par, durability on par with Argan Krill here. So this is gonna be interesting. Agility wise, still sitting at a 7 as well, just below him. So she's reacting and moving at light speed. All right, so that's a plus going towards the heroes in this fight. Now working at energy projection, she is maxed out, sitting at an 8. Absolute control of all energy in the multiverse, not universe, multiverse. So
okay, there's hope. And I think I was going to downplay her earlier, right? But
she sounds dangerous.
That includes whatever energy he's outputting, technically, right?
Yep. But that's also including any energy her fellow heroes are outputting as well.
Hypothetically, would she be able to utilize? And again, Ben, if you're in here, in Venetia, if you're watching as well, further clarification would be wonderful. Agreed, Tavis. Combat intelligence is actually really important. Just because one character has the knowledge of multiple styles doesn't mean the character has the combat intelligence to apply those techniques and skills. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely
very solid. True.
Yep. Taking a moment, these power set sheets, as you guys see on here, it's based on the tier sheet that was created by Tavis. So that is the guy, right? That has provided this system here for the indie breakdown. So just throwing that out there.
Here, let me see if I can zoom zoom us in a little bit more here so we can really take a look at these stat cards here. Let's see, is that better? Oh yeah, that's a lot better. That's a lot better right there. All right.
But yeah, she could potentially be a problem. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So
that's what to say. I'm sorry. The idea that if potentially she could harness the magical energy from that bladed whip of Cachexia and basically put Krill into make him suffer the effects of muscle atrophy, right? Consistently, right? Even though he has, if I'm not mistaken, kind of sort of a regenerative ability, if you would. And I may be misquoting in regards to how some of these like the durability we know he has regenerative properties after you get a certain point. I'm looking through his powers one more time quickly. Body morphing is where where he would kind of keep trying to adjust. But if that muscle atrophy really screws him up, and again, at a consistent level, if she's able to control it, that could be a turning point. And with him focusing on that, and a person as strong as Damien coming in and really laying it on him, there's hope. But it just depends on whether or not they work together as a team, and if they came up with these strategies. So we will see momentarily when we get to that point. But anyway, tangent aside, let's get
now. Let's take a look at her fight ability. We just went through energy projection, right? She can control all multiversal energies, which is nuts. But she's sitting at a 6, so she's
in that.
Yeah, so a master of several forms of combat. Again, like Tavish just said, just because she can, will she?
Will she?
She has the ability to, but does she have that IQ to be able to use them in the situations in which she needs to?
And he's 800 years old, so the level of experience that Krill has in comparison to now, to this 29-year-old, I was gonna say, now, is she actually 29, or does she just have the appearance of 29? Nope, we were provided with an age of 29, so we were left to assume that she is only 29 years of age. So again, regardless of the powers, again, also seconding what you guys said with Tavis, that experience, that combat intelligence, he's naturally built that up over the years. So
yeah, now her powers, I feel like her specific powers and her equipment as well, I feel like that also gives her a bit of a higher edge as well. Straight off the rip with equipment, these divine spores and these microscopic crystals. I'm interested in see how she will use that and put that into play. I did read a little bit as to what they had said that she would do or could do. I'm interested in that. Now that divine sight and sense, okay, that's going to work.
that could
divine avatar. Does that mean she has like a kind of like a Sasuke Susanoo or like Sasano? You know what I mean? Does she have like an avatar state?
Or would it be that that she could send a divine embodiment of herself into a battle instead of her actual body?
I was thinking more Conchu Moon Knight type scenario when I heard that.
Yeah. Oh no. Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh. Okay, I didn't even think about that. So she could essentially have her essence possess somebody else.
That's deep. Okay.
Ooh. I mean, I want clarity on that. I want clarity on that because I'm thinking.
Somebody get Ben. Get him on the line.
somebody get Ben. Because
yeah. But well, I'll tell you what. We'll parking lot that if in their comments, in their battle strategy, this comes up, we'll request further clarification.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
if they don't do it, it ain't happening.
Nah, nope. I mean, but after the fact, when me and Triage play through what we think would happen, I'm gonna play with that. I'm gonna play with that a little bit. Definitely gonna play with that because sorry, I'm getting excited. I sound like
it's the web again.
What's his name from Comics Explained?
Comics Explained, Rob.
Let
me tell you something, man.
Let me tell you something.
Lord.
Oh man, shout out to Comics Explained. Thanks. Oh man, he does amazing work. Absolutely amazing work. It has to be incredibly hard to go through like entire comic runs and then to put together the editing fact on that too. He's not just doing hour-long videos, but then when he puts them together, that's like 3, 4, 5 hour-long videos. Craziness. So now on top of that divine avatar, we have regeneration. So definitely want to take. So I believe that regeneration, if we want to know where that level is at, I think we can take a look at her durability there. It's either her durability. Yeah, I think we look at her durability to see
virtually indestructible.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that regenerative properties are pretty high with having her being virtually indestructible. Yeah. Right. But now we got elemental immunity. So fire, lightning, all these things she's immune to.
Not only that, but she's got nature channeling. and
nature channeling. I skipped right over that one. Nature manipulation. Skip right over those two. My bad. Yeah.
current forecast could be a problem.
Could be a real problem, right? But now that nature manipulation, that includes fire, so she might be able to run both, and she has she can use multiple forms. So I'm thinking that, if her Damien and forecast, man, they can do some real damage there.
Yeah.
Not on top of Damien with his axe, because I'm thinking about Ali plus Damien with his axe. Ali gets that whip around him. Damien hits the whip. Technically, the blade's cutting through him if it's able to get through.
Right.
So that's a major stat boost for her right off rip.
Yeah. Okay. There's hope. Okay. This is as dry as going into this for me, unfortunately.
Yeah.
For me, looking at the cast without looking at the stats, I'm like, there's no way.
Well, I would say looking at the stats alone, without looking at their powers, looking at the stats alone, yeah, it's like, ooh, you only got really two heavy hitters with Damien and Verdant Mother. Yeah. So, but I'm interested in this Atomic Beast transformation. I want to know more about that, as well as the summoning. What is it that she's summoning?
Yeah.
Right. So, if you, I'm a writer myself. Both me and Triage are also writers. So it would be awesome if we can get some more clarification on summoning, in her storyline as well. Later on, she got invisibility, hex casting, and magic projection or protection. I feel like I feel bad because now I feel like I'm kind of like pointing out.
I feel like the hex casting would be the magic projection almost. So let's just say protection until we get clarification. Now, in most cases, I copied and pasted, but there are some where I definitely fucked up with the typing. So I don't know which one this is. However, I have reached out to Ben. We're standing by. Well, we're not standing by, but if he shows up, we'll ask for several bits of clarification, mostly this entire last section here with the Atomic Beast transformation, the summonings, and whether it's magic protection or magic projection.
Honestly, I think it would be magic protection because magic projection wouldn't really make too much sense.
No.
So like, what magic are you projecting there?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, okay, Verdant Mother. Cheyenne Sap, I see you.
Yeah. Yeah. And she assisted too. So she extra powerful because of the melanin.
Right. There you go. He's and I love the artwork. Side Gabriel PC is the artist for that. He is a phenomenal artist. In case you didn't know, fun fact, he is the artist for Soul 3. So like he's the bomb. He's the guy. Check him out. Commission him.
Okay.
I've got if you want to bring up Alexandria, I can go over Alexandria for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel bad because even when I was doing my own breakdown, I kept forgetting about her, which she's not a character to truly forget about because she is in the same tier as Argan Krill.
Right.
So so this is gonna be nuclear level. So this is gonna be interesting. Let's see, what are we working with? They're all teenagers.
So what is running? Teen Titans here?
Yeah, we're running Teen Titans here.
Right.
Let's see. Well, first off, let's pull back. Let's take a look at this art real quick. Let's pull back a look at this art. This is a melanated sister right here. Melanated sister.
Okay, I got a response from Ben. He dropped an emoji on what I said, so he might be pulling up. We might have the opportunity to ask those questions shortly.
All right, awesome. All right, but let's take a look.
Glorious. She looks glorious. I want to see her fight Odina.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I need to see this animated. That's what I need to see animated. Because even that hair, man, put like a blade at the end of that hair.
Yeah, very, very, very Bianca Belair.
There you go. That's who I was thinking of. Yep.
You have given me an idea Well, confirmation for idea. When you said, "What are we doing?" The Teen Titans here, an idea that I have is that I would maybe even potentially in the coming weeks, right? Can we make a Teen Titans adjacent team? Can we make a Justice League team? Can we make an Avengers style team with the indie characters that are in the database? I'm
I mean,
curious.
that to me is not undoable because at the end of the day, the Avengers and the Justice League are just collections of characters. The thing that's going to make it compelling is personality, your storytelling, and whoever it is they're fighting.
Yes.
So you pretty much got the battle half won right there.
Okay. Well, then that might be let's explore that in the coming weeks. We could talk offline, but I want to explore that. And anybody that's watching, let us know. Would you guys want to see that? Let us know.
And hell, even if we don't have anyone within the roster, we can probably make them. So let's not forget the power of creativity here.
There you
go. Probably make a fresh group, kind of like the Outsiders. All young, all dumb, and maybe we can even have one of the more established characters within these universes be kind of like their den mother.
Hey, Lord didn't read about the Horseman yet. I'm just saying.
Wait till you read about these horsemen. Crazy. So let's take a look here. Again,
so really quick.
Go ahead.
So you brought up that she's on that same tier as Argan. The only difference on there, although they are both tier 7, she's a 7B. So she does sit at city level, whereas Krill sits at mountain levels of destruction.
Oh, yes.
Like different. But they're, but they're still close. They're still comparable to some extent.
All right. Ben is in the chat. He said give him a second. Ben is in the chat.
Perfect. Okay. Okay. Did you want me to go ahead and get started with her stats really quick while we wait for him to clarify those questions yet?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Alexandria the Great. Spiff said, I got someone in mind.
Okay.
So with Alexandria, and I'm also going to make sure that I pull Krill back up because I definitely want to compare and contrast in real time here. But she's sitting at a 7, which is one of the highest as well. There, I'm pretty sure she is even. She is even with strength to Krill, so they're both lifting 100 tons plus. She's sitting at a 4 in regards to intelligence, so she is gifted. Her speed is a 5, so she's supersonic, so moving at Mach 2/orbital velocity. Her durability, however, and to go backwards, she is slower than Krill and not as smart as Krill, but that's okay, right? Again, she's equipped with teammates, and we need to get to her powers in a moment. But that durability is sitting at a 5, which is not as much as Krill. However, she is bulletproof, basically dense skin that's able to repel most weaponry, right? Her agility, obviously we're talking about the abilities, agility is at a 7. So she's also at relativistic speeds. And with that speed and the strength to match with these teammates, I'm thinking about, now obviously the scale of the battle is going to be a little different, but I'm thinking about how Spider-Man kept popping up on Thanos like this nuisance, right? He just kept popping up out of the portals and stuff like that. But instead of portals, right, she's probably going to be able to kind of hit those dodges, right? I think about this one. There's like this one like really well animated or drawn version of Goku beating up on Frieza. He was like doing like the boxing moves, like getting him in the cage.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I see her on that wave. Like it's like, yeah, I hit the same. My agility is like that. So while everybody else is swinging and doing the things that he's distracted, she might dodge a hit or get out of the way of theirs and then hit him in a very inconvenient, in inconvenient ways and stuff like that. So just thinking about that. But again, she's relativistic and is able to react and move near light speed. So she's up there. She's definitely got him there, or is on that close to that level there. Energy projection, no. Second weakest in regards to energy projection. She's sitting at a 1, which is also none. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. There's nothing there that she can do in that regard. But then last but not least, we have fighting ability, where she's a master of a single form of combat. So I'm impressed. I didn't realize her strength was that high. Or rather, I didn't remember that her strength was that high. So
she gives me Amazonian vibes.
I agree.
So I'm seeing her hitting. I'm comparing her to Wonder Woman. Her
Agreed.
speed and hitting. Yeah. I'm definitely getting Wonder Woman vibes from her.
Ooh, all right. These powers. We've got flight, pretty self-explanatory. Accelerated healing factor, which I do want to know to what degree, right? And if you're in here, Mr. Mason, please let us know. We have photographic memory. Okay. Lie detection, telescopic vision, resistance to toxins and diseases, as well as precog and clairvoyance, right? That I believe is really going to be where she excels and helps out there. Like again, the strength is there and all of that, but like fly, healing factor, all this other stuff. Thinking about the whole team aspect though, that precog and clairvoyance, that could play a major role in the outcome of this battle.
And from the comments that I was reading, it sounds like it does.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, that telescopic vision there, and so I see this resistance to toxins and diseases counteracting Krill's ability to like his sleep pollen that he has in his wings, stuff like that. I would say that's a toxin in a disease, so I can see her having a resistance to that.
Now, the question I want to ask is that limited only to herself?
With the precog?
No. The resistance to toxin and diseases.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, that's my assumption as well. That that's directly parallel to her.
Because it's like they hinted at that like a little bit on Heroes. Like if you had someone who could regenerate, if they gave someone a dose of their blood, it would instantly heal them. So like similar contrast. Like I said, just clarity for just asking.
Okay. All right. Now, I wonder if that's just maybe I'm reading too much into it because it's like if that's a kind of a magical property situation or if that's just her natural ability. Is it? Well, no, we know it's not an energy, and that means it can't be magic because we know her energy projection is nothing. So never mind. Disregard that. Never mind. The stat card has answered the question.
These stat cards were great. Were a great idea.
Oh,
great idea.
So, thank you. Listen, again, Tavis was on it. We've been thinking about it and doing this. It only made sense to put all of this together, right? And make something concise to where everybody could easily understand what's happening, right? What can the characters actually do? What can we expect? Because, there have been some matches where there'd be hundreds, kids you not, hundreds of comments, and who's scrolling through all those to find out, does this person actually fly? Come on. You know what I mean? Like, let's have a spot that just reads, they do this, they do that. This is where their stuff is done.
Now, I find this interesting right here. This quote, with her immense strength, Alexandria can level a city. So I like that. So that's given us a better understanding of her strength. So was that one punch leveling a city? So if it's one punch leveling a city, oof, man, them gut punches to Krill gonna hit differently.
Right. Now, then we go back to that durability. That's what the problem's gonna be. Because if he's virtually destructible, maybe it'll still move him though.
Absolutely.
It'll still move him, but
now we got to look at that strength too, because so the question is, what makes Krill virtually indestructible? So he's clearly like a bug type, being. So is that an exoskeleton?
Dre, if anybody can get Dre, Dre could definitely dive a little further. I did get some insight that I don't want to read off until we get to that point in this battle breakdown, if you would. But let me scan the notes really quick just to make sure. All right, no, this is his plans and stuff. Yeah, so no, I don't have any insider knowledge, if you would, into the specifics of what makes him virtually indestructible. But yeah, maybe it's the exosuit, maybe. But that's all at that point, kind of speculation on that in that regard.
Yeah. So I mean, that'll be really interesting because exoskeletons can be broken. You hit them hard enough for long enough, they can be broken. I've squashed my fair share of bugs, preferably spiders, but I've crushed my fair share, and eventually after a while, everyone breaks.
Right.
Everyone breaks.
So
So I'm feeling more hopeful for the heroes
yeah,
in this battle breakdown. So if you want, Lloyd, if you feel like we're ready,
we're ready.
you can read off the out of the comments what looks like the heroes are going to do.
Okay, it's game time. So I will briefly share my screen as we do our initial look. I will not share my. Oh, there we go. I was going to say I won't share my screen because I keep getting messages at the same time, but no, we're good. Here we go. So here is everybody that for the uninitiated. Here is what is going on episode 3, the bug problem. We have Damien, which we've already discussed. Verdant Mother, Alexandria the Great, Lee, Forecast versus Argan Krill. Why do I feel like we're missing somebody? Damien, Verdant Mother, Alexandria, Ali, Forecast. No, that's 5. That's everybody.
Oh,
Versus
I'm
Argan
sorry. I'm sorry to cut you off. I ended up doing something on my own before we jumped into this. So I took a look at the power stats, and for some reason, something about I was like, all right, well, how do these characters stack up on a single level scaling? So what I decided to do is I wanted to take a look at what their average power level would be. So within that, I took into account each one of the levels of their powers, and I found the average of them. So again, for those of you who don't know, because I know it's something that we learned a long time ago, but to find an average of a number, to a set of numbers, you add up all the numbers together, and then you divide them by how many numbers there are. So since we have 7 levels, right? Shout out to level 7s out there. That was not planned, but that works. 7 levels out there. So we got to sit there and look at each one of their power sets and abilities, add them up, and then divide that overall number by 7. So this is what I got, if you don't mind. So for Krill, his average power level sitting at, mind you, this is also maxing out at 8, since the max out for all these are level 8. So looking at here, Krill is a 7.6 as an average power level. He's sitting at a 7.6. I'm sorry, 6.7 out of 8. While Damien is a 5.5 out of 8. Verdant Mother 6.2 out of 8. So she's right there, right on Krill's tail, as we all suspected, right? Now Forecast, we're sitting at a 4.2, right? So we said, all right, he can do some work. Now Alexandria Great, she's sitting at a 4.8 in an average power level. And then we have Ali, she's sitting there at a 2.2 in an average power level. So I feel like with these numbers, we can really see how each one of these characters will specifically stack up against Mr. Argan Krill himself. And again, it looks like, as we suspected, Damien and Verdant Mother are both really close in doing so. So the other 3 might end up just being distractions, while the big 2
real heavy hitters.
Yeah, the big heavy hitters. And again, I just want to point out, this is no disrespect to anyone's characters whatsoever. These are all amazing characters. The art is amazing. Their concepts are also amazing as well. So I just want to point that out. This is no disrespect to them. We're just looking at the stats.
That's it.
Just looking at purely stats. I'm pretty sure they, within their own stories, their respective stories, they're probably beasts. But stack it up against on a multiversal level, this is what we're looking at. That's just one thing I just wanted to throw out there. I just thought that was something pretty cool I could do in my mind there.
And that's perfect. We're gonna talk offline. It's perfect. All right. So in regards to what we've already discussed the heroes, we've discussed the villain of this battle. What were the objectives, right? As we get ready to dive into the comments provided by the heroes themselves, and of course, before we reveal what the plan is of Argan Krill as a whole, the hero's objective was to destroy all the dermis. I don't know how to say that. Dermicide, whatever. The D eggs. That's what we're gonna do right now.
Oh, D eggs. Okay, I like that. D eggs.
That works. D eggs.
Second objective: defeat Argan Krill. Right, and then third, rescue Mech. If you guys, everybody in the chat and what have you, had a chance to read the scenario proper, you'll know that there was a call that came in. Mech was sent in to check out some heat signatures, figure out what's going on. Right. You're sent in by Taharka and Ezekiel, the ones that are kind of running. You see the image on the post proper of the gentleman that's trying his best to mobilize the heroes. But essentially, he's basically transmitting over view footage within the Rocky Mountains, trying to figure out, again, that heat signature, and that's where they discovered the eggs. This is taking place in, as you can see, the location, Telluride, Colorado. You can't see it because I stopped sharing my screen, but
I shared mine.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. It's taking place in Telluride, Colorado. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but essentially, it's a ghost town now. So we know that an attack has already happened, whether it is Argon Krill himself or maybe, essentially those hundreds of eggs that are mid-sentence from Mech does bring up the fact that they are hatching. And in a panic, he says, send a team. And just as he turns to run, he sees that massive figure standing before him, Argon Krill. And so Argon strikes Mech, breaking his visor and ending the transmission. And of course, in a hurry, Taharka's like, damn it, put out a call, get a team of 5. We need to move now. They are stationed in Faro Industries, is where Taharka is working out of. They are in Atlanta. Now, where are the other characters at? And in conjunction to where the Rocky Mountains and stuff is, obviously there's going to be time and planning. Let's just say it takes them 10 hours to get there, right? From when the transmission went out. Between getting everybody together, whether they can fly or they need transport and pick up, whatever that prep work is, whatever the briefing and stuff is, we're going to say a solid 10 hours following the end of the transmission is when they are able to arrive at the scene. So looking at the comments, let's go ahead and take a look at everything that everybody said. Actually, before we do that, we did have questions for Ben as it related to the Verdant Mother. If we want to pull her card back up really quick, and ask those questions in regards to the atomic beast transformation, right? The energy protection or projection, and then what was the third one? I don't
Summoning.
Summoning, yes. So if you're still here, please elaborate, if possible, on her abilities. If you know off the dome, if you got to ask Manisha at all or anything like that, yeah, let us know in the chat really quick, and then we'll move on to what the team said they would be doing of this. Let's see. Yeah, he said talk to me. All right, so a little delay here. Let's get it. I'm excited to hear this because they like, if she, depending on what he says, can truly turn the tide of this fight against Argon. Either it's high diff or they lose, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There's no mid to low. Like for them, it's all or nothing. Like people are bloodied, injured. Some might be comatose at the end of this if they are able to pull this up. So
triage. Let's take a look at probability scaling here. So via everything that we just walked through, so let's see. So triage had to step away for a sec. So what I'll do, I'm gonna look at probability wise, all right? Probability scaling. If we were to look at everything we just talked about, Krill's power, their average power levels, probability, and I'll do it mission objective specific. So based off their power stats and abilities, I'll say they have about a 60 to 70% chance of succeeding in destroying the eggs. Right. All right. Then I'll jump to the third mission objective, is to rescue Mech. I'd say they have doing a rescue, depending on where Mech is. That was my other question. Where is Mech?
He, last we saw, was within one of the caves in the Rocky Mountains proper. Okay. Now we do have somewhat of an exact location, right? Because of the technology he had, right? Because he was transmitting that information. You know, he was showing us where the heat signatures that we were picking up on the screen. So we have a very damn near precise location on, at least where his tech and stuff is, right? So we see where that is, right? So they'll go into the Rocky Mountains if they want to go into the cave and explore, his last known sighting. They have every resource available to get to his last known location, no problem.
Yeah. Now, I would suspect, I don't know about Mech's character, but I would suspect that anybody who is a technological character, they have, a tracker in their suit. You know what I mean? In their tech. There's going to be, in case something goes wrong, hey, come find me, or this is my last known location, or hey, I'm gonna throw this on the enemy and we can track him down and find his base. So I would say he probably would have one of those. and they could track that down within the caves, depending on how deep. But based off the scenario, it sounds like he was in the egg room last time we saw him. So if I've watched enough, if I read enough comic books, I watch enough TV and movies, I would say that Mech is probably still in the egg room, and Krill is probably, a little wakey snack for the eggs hatching, because he would want his eggs to have a full a full belly before they went on attack.
I've seen this scene in Aliens before, right?
Yeah,
you know
right.
what I mean? Like, this ain't gonna be pretty for it, man. This ain't gonna be good in any facet of this scenario here.
Exactly.
Now, Mech is a character. Like, we didn't pull him out of thin air. Mech is a character within the database. Let me pull him up really quick. Did I pull him from here? I'm pretty sure I pulled him from here. Hold on. Not bugging.
All right. So Triage is back. So I don't know if you could hear what we were saying, but I was going through a probability scaling of their probability of completing each objective individually. I was saying they have about a 60 to 70% chance of destroying the eggs successfully. And then we were getting into the probability of rescuing Mech. I would say if Mech is his last known location is within the egg room, where his comms went down, he's probably still there, which means because Krill would probably want his eggs to to have his new beings to have a snack to feed their strength when they get there. So that's only the only thing I'm thinking. And again, Krill is 800 years old, so this is not his first. There's no way this is his first time trying to take over a planet. I don't think it's his first time. This is just one stop along his conquest of the universe, whatever his goal may be. But I would say if Mech is in there with the eggs, I would say they have about the same percentage of a chance to to rescue Mech.
Yeah.
Now if he's somewhere else in the cave, that's different.
His tech again. He's on superhuman level. He's on the same level as Ali, right? He's peak human, nothing really special. We won't go over his stats. We'll just talk about the equipment because really he's a non-factor in this at the moment. Now, if they decided, hey, they got him somehow, somebody can heal him and all this other stuff, we can dive into that. But being that he's a character from the Reckoning side of thing, I just wanted to put a cameo if you would. He's again not going to be a factor in this Nexus matchup. The equipment that he has on his person was his AI headphones and visor, his drones. Essentially, he has an infinite utility belt, which I would love some further clarification on. Is it like infinite stuff in there? Is it kind of like how Rocket's belt work with like inertia, and there's like this almost infinite energy kind of situation on there within the utility belt? Just some, what are we working with in regards to that? He's got anti-gravity gauntlets, and of course he has again those rocket boots. So some neat stuff to work with there. But again, non-factor is not actually going to be participating. But if anybody looked at the character and brought him up, maybe there's some tech that they can use in the background and aid them in defeating Krill himself.
So I would say I would say they have a high probability of rescuing Mech as well. Now, when it comes to defeating Krill, I'm gonna give them about a 40 to 30% chance on that one.
So my question is, when you say defeat Krill, what do you mean?
Oh yeah, are we containing him?
Kill in any means, right?
Just to neutralize.
But see, that's different aspects for different problems. So, for example, capturing Krill opposed to killing Krill are two different things. And like you said, if we can neutralize him, like somehow they wind up cutting his limbs off to the point where he's just a torso, and then they transport him as his limbs are growing back to some black hole that shoots him in the middle of the sun's asshole.
So, but yeah, we left it completely open for them. The only thing that's just like destroy all of that are the eggs.
Right.
How
many eggs are we talking?
Don't want. Oh, we got a response from Ben. There's a slew of magical capabilities that stem from a vast arcane knowledge, which is powered by her divine form of magic. I'm assuming it's divine form of magic. Okay. So is that in response to is it magical projection then that I'm gathering here that you're responding to? Of course, we dove into the questions that we needed elaboration on, specifically were the beast transformation, the summoning abilities, and whether it's magical protection or magical projection. Again, I'm gonna assume it's that latter just now. So vast arcane knowledge. I would like, and again, this is preface everybody. This is of course the Nexus side of things. This is for characters that don't officially have books, right? These characters are still being developed, and things are still kind of changing and stuff like that. So, as we ask for further elaboration, if you don't have it, that's perfectly fine. Not saying that you don't, obviously, but if you don't have it, perfectly fine. But if you could potentially elaborate a little further in that arcane knowledge that she has. She can ward herself. Okay, here we go. Create spectral magical beasts and summon extra planetary, I'm assuming, beings to fight on her side.
So extra planetary, so like celestial level kind of characters.
Unless they're trying to say like well, we're going to assume planetary, but initially I was going to say like maybe beings from a different plane, like of existence.
Yeah, planet. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was thinking more like summoning aliens type shit. Like what she's got Ben 10's watch on speed out.
Well, extra planetary. He meant it looks like extra planetary.
Yeah. Okay. That that autocorrect kicking his butt. Huh?
Yeah.
But no, Trish had a good question. What was that?
I said I need a little bit more clarification with that. Like, is she like summoning aliens from another planet? Like, I mean, are we getting stuff from like Ben 10's watch? Like, are we getting species? Or is this xenomorphs? Like,
so about the eggs. So you had a question about the eggs.
Oh, I said how many are there?
We have said, and I'll go back to the scenario. I do believe I said 100 eggs to keep it simple. Hold on.
And how big?
Xenomorph, the aliens type size eggs.
So okay, so we're talking about probably twice the size of a watermelon.
Yeah.
Okay.
He says the quote that we have him saying is Ezekiel asked him, "How many eggs did your scans pick up?" Meg says easily 100, and they're all hatching. So we will cap it.
They're actively hatching.
They are in the moment of him seeing it, actively hatching it before.
That's different. That puts a whole different spin on that. Yeah. Whole different spin on that. Because if they were dormant eggs just sitting there, ready for the cracking, that's different. Actively hatching. So that means not only are they going to have to handle krill, but now they also have to handle whatever eggs have already hatched. So about 100 eggs, they're actively hatching. You said when he saw them, it took them 10 hours to get there.
10 hours.
10 hours to get. Oh wow.
So we've got a problem on our hands now.
Yeah, that's a problem that we didn't even see there.
Yeah, and when they pull up in Colorado, we know from the scenario that it is a ghost town already. So the people that were there, we don't know where they're at, right? So assumption is they've perished, right? Again, hundreds. We're going to cap it at 100, but 100 of this species is out potentially, right? There might be more eggs in there, so on and so forth.
All right. So Benji just clarified what he means by extraplanetary. We were correct.
Oh, he said
yes, other planes of existence. So anything that is not. So he's going off of D&D logic, which means anything that is not native to the material plane. So he says element from the elemental plane, the abyss, or the hells. So anything that's not on this current plane of existence.
Oh, there's hope. Then there's hope. Again, if they're summoning fiends, celestials, and spiritual forces from outside of this plane, there's hope. To what level, though, I wonder, can she summon these things, and what's sort of the drawbacks or maybe buffer period between these summonings that she can do?
Because
my
question is, since we're going off of D&D logic, what's her mana level at? What's her magic cap at? Can she only? Especially, I've been watching a lot of solo leveling, and He's you know, I don't want to give anything away because if you haven't watched Solo Leveling, you need to. You need to.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you're working on it. I know you're working on it. Oh, but no, you know, there's a mana cap, especially when it comes to summoning. You know, you can only maybe only summon X amount of you know, have an X amount of summons per amount of time, or until your mana level runs down. You know, how strong is she within that magic level? But he does say that she has a high level of arcane knowledge. So I'm going to speculate and assume that she can summon a lot at a time. You know, with that entire level of power, it's a lot.
She gonna hit them with that arise in a second, bro.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I see. I can't do it like he did. I can't do it like he did it. But no, these are very solid questions, and I feel like they're all going to factor in, and especially knowing that when Mech saw them, they were actively hatching, and it took them about 10 hours to arrive on scene. Now, you said that it is pretty much abandoned and desolated, right? It's desolate.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing where that's going. Seeing where that's going.
Based off of a level 20 character by the D&D realm, so her mana is not limitless, but it's very high. Okay.
Yeah, as I expected. All right. So yes. So with those clarifications, I feel like I have a lot more information, and I feel like I can definitely do a good breakdown. What about you, Triage?
I've got a scenario in my mind. All right.
Okay. So
all right, go for it, Lloyd.
All right. So first comments on there. 20 is the cap for D&D for characters in D&D. So yeah, so she's
max
she's
level.
Okay. All
Copy.
right. So Ben is actually the first person with a move here that took place in the comment section. We have the Verdant Mother appears in the clouds, tens of thousands of feet above Tellaride, where her divine senses have led her. Far below, she can sense a number of abominations against the natural order growing, each in their individual eggs. Her eyes glow with an emerald radiance as she says to herself, "No, ma'am, we're not doing that over there." And with that, the Verdant Mother spirals down towards the clutch of eggs. And as she descends, her body glows brightly for a split second, as in a flash of pearlescent green. Her body dissipates into an innumerable cloud of green spores, which begin to magically disappear as she gets closer to where she senses the eggs. So wonderful. From what I'm gathering, and correct me if I'm wrong since you're in here, Ben, I'm getting some recon from this, right? So she's the first on the scene, which is awesome. And instead of diving in ready to attack, it looks like her first move was, let me see exactly what's going on. I have an idea, but let me see exactly what's going on before I go on the attack. That's okay. Smart move. To be fair, I didn't know about the 10-hour difference, so I guess it would be different. No. You're perfectly fine. You're perfectly fine. All we were taking into account of is home base. We know from previous events, the previous 2 episodes, right, is in Atlanta, right, and all of these heroes are stationed all over the place across the states, and honestly, the world that we have Slick created within this kind of amalgam universe, if you would, is in chaos, right? So there is going to be, unless you have instant transmission, regardless, there's going to be some sort of travel time. So for the rest of our characters that do need to fly, and again, depending on what the individuals said and how their characters get there, there is going to be some, it's going to take time to get to, hey, I need your help. There's something going on over here. What exactly is going on? Like, there's going to be conversations, there's going to be briefings, there's going to be prep. So a lot of these characters, if they attack as a team, once they get that briefing from Taharka, whether it's from his drones that he sent, like he did in the first episode, where he sends these drones, it's like, we have a problem in underground Atlanta. We can get you there, but I need you to make a decision now if you're going to help us with this problem, right? So again, there is still travel time. He doesn't have instant transmission. His tech is not that advanced, right? So there's still time to inform the chosen heroes, if you would, to take part in this. Now, again, in the case of how you describe the Verdant Mother, it makes sense. That's like, I didn't get that information from y'all. I sense it. I am that high level. So you're fine with the 10-hour thing. You're good because obviously it works. You don't have to worry about getting that briefing. You sense that happening. So,
so she ends up there faster than the rest. But we also have to think about, we got flight, but also she nature manipulation too. So she could have used, again, this is, she could have used she could have just like spawned out of a damn tree somewhere.
Zetsu swag, bro. Zetsu swag. How he just be popping up out of the ground, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So no, you're good. So the next comment was by Mark. He was asking for clarification in regards to precog and clairvoyance for Alexandria the Great. So the clarification for that within the comments is she could just see the results before it happens. Immediately, first thing that comes to mind is Nicolas Cage and Next, where it's just like, I could see if I do this, what's going to happen. Or maybe even Doctor Strange was just like the 14 million different routes that you could see before it happens. You're making those decisions really quick on the fly. So that's my assumption. I don't know if we want to go with that. Do you guys have a comment on that? On that specifically, he only had the one sense of she could see the results before it happens. That's it.
So for me, when it comes to precog and the clairvoyance, I feel like that's going to be a really, really big, something that could really help them out. I would say that precog would be, being able to see, guys, look out, he's going, he's about to punch left, about to punch right. This is what he's going to do. But it's also like so she can see the direct result of that situation.
Right.
So
it's not a multiple choice. It's only what is happening.
Yeah, based off the choices of the people in that current event. So honestly, she's probably going to be able to see the way the battle's going to plan out from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And then
that's unfortunate. Wait.
yeah, clairvoyancy.
I don't know, because my thing with that is like we've got a lot of gray area with this scenario. Like, for example, have we established who's actually in charge with these 5?
No, not at all.
No.
The heroes were called in, and they're like, "We need you to go here. It's up to you to set your team and mobilize a plan." Now,
okay,
yeah. So, and then we leave that part entirely to the creators, right? So it's like, again, these 5 have the opportunity, the choice to say, "All right, what's our plan, guys?" Or they could have just been like, think about Vegeta trying to partner with the Z fighters to fight the androids. He ain't team up with them. He's like, I'm gonna head that way. Good luck with that. I'm about to fight these androids. No, we need a plan. No, fuck out of here. Like, we're about to fight this guy. We're about to go fight.
His arm ends up broken like 15 times.
Right.
But like
that man need to get that arm checked, yo.
Facts. No sensu bean can help him with that arm.
That's actually one of the reasons why I bring this up, because, like, for example, like the Battle of New York shit went sideways. The first thing Iron Man did was like, "Yo, call it, Cap. You got the greatest soldier in history on your side. Why would you not let him do? Why would you not let him give the orders?"
Right.
Yep.
So it's like you just acknowledge that there's someone who's clairvoyant who could see the possible outcomes. But if you're giving those orders to someone like Peter Quill,
as we all saw, this man don't know how to take no orders. Don't know how to take no kind of advice.
Ray Mason, if you're in here, I do believe that was the creator of Alexandria the Great, or the one that spoke for her at the very least, in the comments. If anybody has his Facebook, anything of that nature, and feels inclined to reach out to him, we'd love that clarification there. Because has anybody here, have y'all watched the Get Backers at all?
I've not.
Nah, neither.
So it's I want to say early 2000s anime. And there's a character that's he has a form of precog, right? But it's like literally the next second. Like it's 1 to I think it was seconds, or maybe even a minute, but it was like a very short span of time where he was literally like, I barely know what my opponent is about to do in that moment. So he had to have some level of finesse as well. Now, he was like an antagonist to the character because the character he was fighting was like one of the main characters. But to the point is, again, I think it was like just barely, kind of like how Hit is able to move just that couple percentage of a second in, into the future, if you would. That's how his precog was, right? So again, like you said a second ago, there is some gray area in regards to these abilities and stuff like that. What is that duration? What exactly is that? Because she can see the whole battle. Man, switch up the team. You know what I mean? Like what exactly? You know what I mean? Like, ooh, it's not going to work with y'all. But again, I guess that would come in with that conversation of, here's the game plan. Now, obviously, they don't know the outcome, right? But the communication amongst them in regards to what could possibly be would have come in handy really early on here.
Mm-hmm.
Ben was the next. Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, so there's a character in My Hero Academia. I can't remember his name for the life of me.
Night Eye.
Night Eye.
Night
That's
Eye.
it. Yeah, Night Eye. So is it something like Night Eye in the way
Right.
his works, where he,
You can
based
see
off
possible futures.
possible futures based off of the current actions that are going on. So it'd be but with the blanketed statement of just clairvoyance, I'm expecting that she can probably see this battle ending, whatever way, based on the actions of everyone in that moment. So it's like, oh, right now we're gonna lose, but this person's doing this, like percentage wise, like I was just saying, all right, this person does this, then this is gonna happen, and we're gonna lose, like the Doctor Strange style, those 14 billion and one, options.
Right.
That's the way I'm seeing it, based off the blanketed statement of clairvoyance, precog, seeing things before they happen, clairvoyance, relatively kind of the same thing in a way. But no, yes, let's so what do we got? What we got next?
So Ben, with the next move, he says the verdant mother spores are invisibly surrounding the area where the eggs are stored. In a flash of purplish green, she rapidly spreads herself into a large network of bioluminescent mushrooms that grow over, under, and all around the eggs until every centimeter of them are covered. With a final pressurized woof, the mushrooms lose their magical brightness, and where they once stood, a mushroom network-shaped mass of reflective crystals solidify over the eggs, dimly glowing with an ominous grayish yellow light. For the sake of this, how much reaction would the clairvoyance allow? If Ray was in here, we would definitely ask that question. Unfortunately, we have no further information in regards to that. And guys, I'll make a judgment call on this one really quick, because she was there early enough, right? And because, again, we said he saw easily 100, right? We could say there might be more in there, right? Well, we can allow this attack to happen, right? To where the extra eggs that might be in there, again, they've had who knows how long to burrow into this cave, right? I'm thinking about, again, if we're talking about solo leveling, not going to spoil anything, but we saw season 2, right? Those of us on season, we saw when they went back to the island, we saw what awaited them, and when they looked ahead, they saw the forces that were there and beyond, right? There was plenty for them to deal with. I would dare say, and we can, if there's a rebuttal or anything like that, please let me know. Let's discuss further. But let's just say there was more than 100 eggs in a further network within the cave that she dealt with. However, because of where the scenario picks up, the eggs that were hatched are already hatched. They're gone, right? So at best, and again, she's not necessarily looking for mech, right? So she might not be in that same portion. That's what we'll say.
Because she probably doesn't even know that mech was even in there to begin with, because she didn't get the call.
So let's just say there was a network somewhere within the cave that there were additional eggs that she's dealt with. But again, the ones that have hatched, can't do nothing about that. They're out. They're out. Are we cool with that scenario in light of what we've discussed here?
So another question.
It would make sense.
Yeah, I agree. But another question that me and Triage had prior to the show was, what is coming out of the eggs? Are they are they the same as Krill? Are they just copies of Krill?
Now, I think I would have to dive into some of what he has stated in here. Let me refer to the notes provided. Yeah, she only sensed the unnatural essence. Okay, got it. So yeah, okay, perfect. All right, hold on. Let me scroll through here and double check. But I am absolutely confident that yes, they are of the same race of Krill as Krill, and so essentially, we're potentially looking at an army of Krills. But let me is there going on?
Probability is getting smaller.
Very much smaller. Okay. I'm trying to make sure that I don't. Okay, here's the additional information. Okay, so there is a hierarchy, right? So let's talk about it. So there's drone eggs that take 2 weeks to hatch. Again, we don't know how well. We know at minimum they've been here 2 weeks, right? Mech was going to investigate because they noticed those heat signatures now. They can turn into adults within 2 hours after hatching.
Oh, damn.
Guardians.
Another 10% off.
Yeah, it's right. Drop that percentage down, bro.
We're looking at like 10 to 20.
So hold on.
Go ahead.
Nah. So they got word that they were hatching 10 hours ago, and it takes them only 2 hours to hatch.
Yes.
Oh yeah, they're fine.
It takes 2 weeks to hatch, but it takes 2 hours from hatching for them to become adults.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're still up.
Right. So those are the drone eggs. The hive guardians take 4 days and 1 hour to reach adulthood. So there's hope with these stronger ones. Would infant krills be as dangerous as century-old krill? We will potentially, depending on what Jay has for us in regards to intel.
Hive mind. Don't forget about that hive mind.
That's right. Yes, they would be as dangerous because they all share a hive mind. Thank you. That is crazy.
Oh, well, it also goes into if they're as strong. So maybe they'll have the same knowledge, but as in physical strength. And since, and then being newborns, would that exoskeleton, so to speak, air quotes, since we don't know,
they'd be adulthood. So if now granted, to your point, and I'm with you, they're drone eggs. So I don't think krill is any type of drone. So to your point, they're not going to be as strong. No.
Yeah, no. As smart, yes, not as strong.
Yeah,
maybe not even that, because the last thing Krill would want is for someone as strong as him to wonder why he needs to take orders from him.
Very true. That's why they're drones.
Next up, we have I said hive guardians already. 4 days and an hour to reach adulthood. Then there's the royal guards that take 24 hours and 20 minutes to reach adulthood. And then there's queen slayers that are born live as full adults and only wake when one or more. How it's worded. So I'll read it how it's worded, and you'll see why I'm stumbling over my words. Says queen slayers are born, live, and as full adults, and only wake when one there are more than one sun queen. Right. So that's why I was stumbling. I was trying to make sense of it. If there's a sun queen at risk of capture, they will kill and consume her. Which is crazy. So essentially, I guess they only wake when there's one. Okay. In regards to the queen slayers, there's only going to be like there could be eggs for them, but only one's going to wake up when another one is gone. There's not going to be more than one at the same time, is what I'm gathering from this.
Okay.
That makes sense.
All right, that makes sense.
Please
so we're looking at potentially 100 drone eggs that have already hatched. We're looking at a queen who's alive, who's probably still laying eggs, as well as a queen slayer, who is alive and protecting the queen.
Yes.
So we have potentially 100 drones or more, a queen slayer, and krill. So that's that. Ooh, damn.
We got a problem. We have a problem. And again,
we're gonna take another 10% off of that.
They would know again, I'm trying to look for any additional information that can be shared at this point about the rest of them. Here's the clarification. He is a queen slayer.
Oh, krill is a queen slayer.
He is a queen slayer. All right, so he would ensure that multiple queen slayers like himself are placed in other areas. So my assumption was wrong. So let's talk about this. And he did number them. So apologize. I'm going back and forth. The explanation about I'll go over the hive drones and then back to this queen slayers. One of his objectives would be to ensure that the hive drones and hive guardians and royal guards are made from the best consumed organic material, which would give you a hint as to what happened to the people in Colorado. And then he would ensure that multiple queen slayers like himself are in place in other areas for replacement bodies. No, maybe my assumption was right. For replacement bodies, should his original body be rendered mute. So he is the queen slayer, and he would just jump into those other bodies. But only the assumption is still, this body's gone. This one awakens. This essence of krill would overtake that body. So I'm thinking Palpatine in Legends, right? Where it's just like I'm my essence into a younger body. That is a problem. Oh, that's a
That
problem.
is a damn problem.
Ever though, she would have neutralized those with her ability. So there aren't any other Queen Slayers. So mission accomplished on that. You destroyed the most dangerous of the eggs.
But now what's stopping the Queen from laying another?
Now that is a problem. But we'll dive into that. From what I'm seeing, there isn't any.
Was the Queen mentioned in this scenario?
Not in the scenario. No, not in the scenario. Because for me, when I write the scenario, right, there's a lack of knowledge, right? I only ask for what the enemy can do after I write that, right? Because hell, a lot of these characters in these superhero shows or in just movies and stuff, they don't always go in with all the knowledge or the information they need to take on the threat. We just know, hey, something's not right over there. Send me your best people. We're gonna investigate and see what's going on, right? And then it's up to the hero or main character at that point in time to determine, with the limited information they got, how they're gonna proceed, right? Hey, if I got X-ray vision, okay, I'm gonna scout it out, and at which point that'll be like, all right, Dre, we used X-ray vision. Tell me what's inside that cave. You know what I'm saying? Like in those moments, it's like, now I'm asking you clarification. It's not spoiling the character, it's not spoiling your plan. However, I have an ability that allows me to do X, right? So, sake of conversation, precog, right? If I can see the entire battle, if that was like, hey, I could, if that is how the ability works, then Ray would have the opportunity to say, hey, I have precog, I can see the entire battle play out. Tell me what the plan was. Now, again, it would be one of those nuanced things where we'd be like, all right, at the same time, guys, let's talk about it. Here's his plan. What are y'all doing? What's in your arsenal to counter that? Well, you can't even counter it. Excuse me. It's one of those nuanced things where we would have to bring them on and have a real-time conversation. But the question,
I mean, you could also do it via. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you can also so after you do the scenario, right? I would say, and this is like for outside the show, maybe add everyone who's on the hero team, right? Put them in a group chat and just let them go, let them go off.
Yeah,
and that way they can run their planning, and then you run it off of that. But no, all right. So
but in the case of this, like, they have an opportunity to, if you have an ability that could benefit, and it makes sense, right? Again, precog, if it's I can see the entire outcome, then Dre would have to provide some level of intel. But does he have to tell how the body and how their powers work? No. But hey, their plan is to consume, to strengthen, take over the planet, eat everything on the planet and move to a new one, spread the spores across the galaxy. That type of, the objectives would need to be at least revealed, right?
Yeah. So, but if we're going for sake of argument, we're going specifically off what was said. It was said that she destroyed the eggs.
Correct. So since there's only one Queen Slayer at a time, at the very least, every Queen Slayer egg that
tomorrow there will be showers with a high of 49 degrees and a low of 30
is neutralized. But we know that the rest of the eggs that we're seeing have hatched. So we're talking Royal Guards, we're talking about the Hive drones, we're talking about all of those. Those have hatched. Now they're at varying stages of age, right? Because we know the drones are, they grow up pretty fast, but those higher levels are still infants, right? Or children at this point. So there is still, again, some benefit to, thank God that there's something that's working in their favor right now. Because
all right, 10 points to Gryffindor, and extra 10
points to Gryffindor's.
So we're back to about 10-20. But yeah, going strictly off what you said. All right, eggs are destroyed. At this point, if she has clairvoyance and precog, she probably does already know about the Queen. But to her, that's not a problem because eggs are gone. She doesn't know how long these eggs take to hatch, but eggs need time to hatch either way. That still gives them some level of time there. So what happens next within this battle? What's the next?
Okay, so Mark says Now, he did say he's not sure how everybody's powers work, but his thought process is that the hive mind is the biggest issue, which is correct. If forecaster Damien can manipulate the temperature inside the cave from outside of the cave, manipulate the temperature inside the cave from outside the cave, it can draw the villain out because the eggs are getting messed with. Alexandria is on comms, which slight rebuttal there before I continue. Obviously, of course, the eggs are already hatched, so we're not too worried about whether or not that time. Again, maybe that's just a preemptive strike, but we know that that's not really going to play a big role in regards to that. Maybe the queen, right? But we didn't really get a lot of intel on the queen in regards to that. So we can dive into that further as well in a second. Anyway, back to Alexandria. Alexandria is on comm duty from afar using her telescopic vision and precog. So smart usage. She can focus on helping either Damien or Forecast counter any attacks by seeing them beforehand. Okay, so it's not just herself, and she could see it, well, just beforehand. So, okay, so that's good. So she can't see the entire battle, but she can see the immediate events take place. Okay, she has invisibility. I don't remember invisibility on the card.
So I believe we're still talking about Verdant Mother though, because Mother Verdant does have. Mother Runner, she does have the no invisibility is not on her
that's
card.
it. Yeah,
not on her card. So he must be talking about Alexandria with her because she has a. Does she have it? Oh wait, no, she does. Yeah, she does. Summoning, invisibility, hex casting, and magic projection.
So in the comments, so the last thing from Ben was the whole thing with the mushrooms and the solidifying the eggs, right? The next person to say anything in response to the matchup was Mark. He said Alexandria uses telescopic vision, and then with her invisibility. Oh, you are absolutely right. I that's me. You're right. Dang it. I'm sorry.
That's all good. It's all good. It happens.
Okay. Which that lines up going for the eggs. That lines up. But again, from what we're gathering and from that initial response, she's already done that. But we'll say, you know what? Let's start over. Both of their comments do line up. So now instead of giving the Verdant Mother that buffer ahead of time from them,
because she actually she doesn't have that precog.
Right. So they all arrived together at that 10-hour period then. So we can retract the earlier statement of, she was there first, because the plan, regardless, was for the Verdant Mother to go and cover the eggs. And there we go. Are we okay with this retraction? Or do we want to stick with original scenario?
No, I think the retraction would make more sense within the scenario.
Okay.
Agreed.
Well.
Okay. Yeah. So then the rest of the statement is, of course, she goes for the eggs. And attempts to do the rescue, preferably attempt to do the rescue first. When the eggs are being destroyed, that will bring the villain's attention back to the cave. And in this distracted state, and after the rescue party is safe, Ali could do some serious damage with the whip. I'm so sorry I let you guys down. And then all the heroes can pile on. Of course, no plan goes perfectly, but 2 heroes with knowledge of the future can handle that, I think. And I do love this. I do like this solid plan. So they did come together in a certain aspect. I do like that. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
So taking a look at Verdant Mother. Sorry, do you want to go first, Josh?
No, go ahead.
So looking at Verdant Mother's card here, so she has Divine Sight and Sense. So I guess maybe some clarification needs to be on that. So we see her use the Divine Sight and Sense to sense the eggs. Right now, but does that extend beyond sensing what's going to happen next? Because if so, then it means we only have one hero with the ability to see things before they happen, for the most part. So I'd say you only have one person on their side that can kind of see things before they happen. Because I know Forecast doesn't, Ali doesn't. Let me take a look at. I'm pretty sure Alexandra. She has it. But now, if we take a look at Damien as well, I'm pretty sure he doesn't have it. He's all pyrokinesis. Yeah. So no. So correction. They would only have one hero on their team with that can see things before they happen. So that knocks it down a little bit. So, but I'm pretty sure her level of ability, we don't need to. We don't need to. People, like, I'm pretty sure she would have that covered on her own. So all right, with that, I don't know. So I just feel like this would be Verdant Mother taking the lead, and the other heroes moving, making their moves based on the outcome of her move. So taking out the air quote eggs, but they've already hatched, so that means she took out the the Queen Slayer egg. So Krill doesn't have any further bodies that he can transmit to. He's the only one, which is good on their behalf, because having to deal with another one that just comes back at full strength, forget any damage that they just did. Yeah, no, there's nothing they can do against that now. My question is, would these drones come into play and attack? Because clearly they're going to be at full strength now after eating the whole damn city.
Now,
town.
From a little bit of feedback that we just received, or not feedback, but clarification, Ben did bring up, we were talking about our retraction initially. But it looks like we might need to keep it as is, because the point that was brought up earlier is that she is able to sense that something was wrong in nature. So regardless, she is able to just go ahead and sense that before anybody else and make that move. So we do, based on what the creator has said about this character, we do need to stick with the original scenario to stay as true to the character as possible. So she is there by herself.
Okay.
But with that being said, I did start to access. I don't know if I hit enter on it. Oh, I did. Would she be able to, with this ability, work on the Queen? Because assumption-wise, she is still in that cave. So would she have done this to the Queen? That means, right, if she sensed that, and of course the trigger is she sensed the hatching, right? And that was like, something's not right. And so she stopped the other ones from hatching, right? But the problem now is that we have to, just before the rest of the characters arrive there, is we know that the Queen Slayers, the moment that the Queens are basically about to be captured, the Queen Slayers eat the Queen, right? And with that hive mind and everything, assumption would be following his order in regards to protection and, fight or flight, if you will, whatever the case is. They're all flooding back in from wherever they were, and it's 1v101, right, in this scenario. So I guess quick pause. No, we'll go through the rest of the scenario, but there is going to be a couple hours between whatever happens with her right now versus this entire hive, and then the rest of the heroes arriving. But I do want to also dive into what Krill's plans are, what Dre has provided us. But that's the current state of things. We have Verdant Mother appearing hours earlier, right? There's again, they start hatching, Mech goes down, she senses it, takes out the eggs, and is essentially exploring and getting ready to take out the Queen, if that's how it works. So, and then a couple hours out is the rest of the team getting briefed, right, on what's going on before they can actually mobilize. So it's going to be a while before there's any type of backup.
But Ben did bring up a good point that she does have her invisibility. So she could just be, sitting in the cave waiting. You know what I mean? She's already, assessed the situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she's the one that's using that recon.
That's true. Now, I wonder then, right? This is going to be interesting, right? Because he has control over various insects, right? And I don't know every insect. I'm not going to sit here and lie, right? But is there something out there that could pick up scents that could help him, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Now we also have to worry about insects that are able to detect the thermal as well.
Right. So there's a couple things that I would like for you to dive into. Of course, again, so the moves specifically that I'm concerned about for her, the corrosive venom. Can a corrosive venom go through that kind of mushroom solidification over what we'll assume the Queen and the eggs, right? Because it was doing everything that was in there. So
yeah,
Queen is in there as well. Everything is in there. So solidified unless there's like a specific organic matter that this doesn't work on. But again, we're talking about a level 20 character. Like obviously that, she should scale to being able to do something like that. But regardless, we're talking about that. We have the control over various insects. So is there anything that can sense, heat, all this other stuff, sense individuals, pheromones, that type of thing that might get in the way. And then I am curious about the psionic disruption, but because they're not here, I don't want to make assumptions, but I am concerned about that move in a panic. Would he do something like that? It's not necessarily a question for you, Ben, but I wonder if that psionic disruption would potentially affect her in any way. And I'm trying to find a good example of what exactly psionic disruption is in the context of this. You create a psychic state that disrupts other creatures' ability to think clearly. That is now I pulled this from D&D 5th edition, which that was the first thing that popped up. So it's fitting that you have a D&D character, and this move is well, actually that is psychic disruption. Why did you pop up psychic and not psionic? Let me see. Here's a wiki. The first thing that popped up is second thing technically is a fairy tale wiki about psionic disruption. Unique caster magic that allows you to project gyrating waves of magical energies that could directly affect the inner ear and the nervous system. So is she immune to anything happening to somebody's nervous system? Or is she protected from her nervous system being affected? There we go. I didn't know this was going on. Yes, sir. Dre is here. He can give us further elaboration on any questions we have about Krill. Jesus, I know I can speak. Here we go. Krill. So we'll revisit the questions about him in a second. But Ben, these are divine spores with magical protection. So I do want to say just say that they would be a little bit more resilient to damage. Okay, which is perfectly fine. I assume.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Dre. Here's the state of things for everybody that's joining. Right now, and again, if there might be some revision to how it's playing out right now, but essentially where we stand right now. Shortly after Mech, has brought in a transmission saying there's easily 100 eggs and they're starting to hatch. Right. We lose connection with him. We lose the transmission. We don't know what happened to him. Saharka is putting together a team and they're preparing to mobilize. We have stated that it is going to take them approximately 10 hours to not only bring those heroes that gather to the compound to get them flown out to, the Rocky Mountains and stuff like that, or whether they could fly. Regardless, the briefing, understanding, and mobilization of this team, they will not arrive in Telluride, Colorado for 10 hours. However, shortly after the hatching begins, the verdant mother senses an unnatural presence within the world, and she goes and investigates it. And she utilizes her pores to prevent or to solidify over, at the very least, the queen and the other Queen Slayer eggs, because they haven't hatched as of yet, based on what was stated in regards to one of the statements in our private message in regards to what Krill and the Queen Slayers do. So right now, she's the first one on the scene, and it'll be hours before the rest of them show up. So we are discussing nuance about what's going on between these two in a potential battle. Because she can turn invisible, I know one of my questions is, between all of the abilities that are stated on the card for Krill, is there a means for him to be able to figure out where she is within this cave with her invisibility technique? That's my question, for sure.
So what I've seen via my quick research for psionic powers in general, what psionic means, it's essentially all and anything encompassing within psychic abilities, whether it be telekinesis, telepathy, clairvoyance, precog, mind control, astral projection, pyrokinesis, photokinesis, danger sense, emotion control, body control, and teleportation. So I would say if he has psionic disruption, he has the ability to disrupt all of the aforementioned abilities.
And if he can disrupt psionic abilities, can he sense them also?
I don't know.
Let us know, Dre. So Dre's in here now, so we're gonna get these clarifications.
Yes.
We'll get
Yeah.
to
So my. By the way, first, since Dre said he didn't know this was going on, let's clarify what's going on right now. Before we got into that, so I'm Power Maximus. I am one of the hosts of the Super Breakdown. With me is everyone's favorite demigod, Lord Triage, who is the one of the other hosts of the Super Breakdown. We are doing a collab here with Indie Breakdown and Indie Versus to bring you guys this awesome breakdown as well.
Yes. Anyone else out there who's listening, if you ever want us to break down a character or go over whatever it is you're producing, let us know.
Yeah, hit us up on our Instagram, the Super Breakdown Podcast on Instagram. Hit us in the DMs. We will take a look at the character. We will break them down. We are more so within the mainstream of things when it comes to mainstream characters, Marvel, DC, Image Comics, Dark Horse, so on and so forth. So we usually do all mainstream. So if you guys are interested in a mainstream character, we got you guys. We also do pop culture, movies, and TV shows as well. So we've broken down Power Rangers, we've broken down Gargoyles, TMNT, so on and so forth. So if you're interested in any of those, by all means, hit us up, let us know. We will definitely break them down. But yeah, we're going on 100 episodes next actually tomorrow. Yeah, 100 episodes tomorrow. So by all means, look us up on YouTube, the Super Breakdown Podcast. You can check out all our episodes there just to get an idea of what we do.
Also, please definitely be sure to drop y'all's links in the chat as well, so that people can get to you guys a little easier as well. Make sure that make sure they can get to y'all.
Absolutely.
If you guys are enjoying this, get ready because this is the new norm. As a matter of fact, get used to these voices, right? Get used to this format, get used to this, because these are the voices that you guys will be hearing in the coming weeks as it comes to breaking down these events, breaking down these battles. This will take place on Saturday, so slight changes to when you'll see results for, say, the Nexus fights and the Reckoning matchups and stuff like that. Of course, you guys discussing in the comments and stuff will stay the same. However, of course, on Saturdays, this is when you guys will hear of those matchups, so on and so forth. So hope you guys are enjoying it, because the way this is going, they here to stay. This is it. Y'all are killing it. Y'all are killing
Thank you. Definitely, thank you. So Dre said that he was sitting there waiting to let everyone know how cooked they are. So he confident. He confident in Krill, which I'll be honest, Dre, I'm confident in Krill too.
Yeah.
We were going through the probabilities of the hero success, and the heroes are sitting at about a 10 to 20% chance of achieving this goal. Let's see. So he also says, and her senses with Sun Queen is fine, but if one Sun Queen is there, Krill would have others around the world, and he controls all bug life, including but not limited to fungivores too, bugs that eat spores.
Ugh.
And I knew that control over various bugs was going to be a problem.
But wait, there's more. And I have a little knowledge as well that actually might help the Verdant Mother. There are fungi. You ever hear of the zombie ant?
Yes.
Yes, those are ants that have been taken over by a zombifying fungus. So she technically has the ability to take over his insects.
Talk to me. What else? Okay. And as far as I can see, right? And so Ben, you'll have to clarify if that's what she could do according to nature manipulation and all of that. One would assume so. Dre, I don't see anything that's that could fight against that at the moment. What is your response, and how would he react in that? Let me know. But I do want to read, because that's in regards to comments on the battle proper. There's only one left. We'll read that and get into what Dre said as they continue to comment. I got those. The rest of the Verdant Mother would go for the eggs. We know that kind of retracts that. In his distracted state, and after the rescue party is safe, Ali could do serious damage. Oh, we did read the rest of that. The last portion is Ben said that actually makes a lot of sense, agreeing with the plan that Mark came up with, especially since they're clairvoyant. They'll know about the Verdant Mother's attack and that she's siphoning life out of the eggs, which will surely get Krill's attention, and a multi-pronged assault is definitely going to take him out. So again, the nuance that we can work with this is she was there well ahead, but now we're getting an idea that clairvoyance does work at a greater length than originally assumed. But I don't imagine that that's going to get them to the location to help any sooner.
Yeah.
If we can agree on that at least.
No, I definitely agree. So good point. Dre just brought up good point that the zombie fungus only works on ants. It is specifically called the zombie ant fungus. So it is specifically for ants. At least, so she's at least taking over all the ants.
Now talk to us then, Ben. Tell us more about the hex spore magic then.
All right, let's see. It says, all right, makes sense. Well, seeing that she is discovered, she'll meld into the stone around her, seal everything inside, and then fill the cave with her hex spore magic.
Interesting. So you're saying this would cause them to potentially come running back, and then she would seal them in to the best of her ability with that magic. Now, Dre, then, we'll talk about a hive-minded character, right? The queen is in danger. The assumption is since she was in the cave, everything was solidified. The queen was also solidified. Would this cause Krill to come running back? And would that also cause all the rest of the eggs that have hatched and the beings that came out of them to also come rushing back to try to save the queen? What is their reaction? I think that was one of the points that we were kind of stuck on a little while ago as well.
So yeah, that's a very, very, very interesting thing there.
Yeah.
Sealing it off, filling it with hex spore magic. But here's the thing. So what is the hex spore magic going to do? Is it still the solidifying everything? Or so let's see. Drake came back and said they would have other issues if he is there. And
there are mimic drones already out in the world to stabilize infrastructure. Jesus.
Well, I mean, once you take out the queen, and if you were to take out Krill, it's all a matter of a cleanup job. After that, it's a necrotic magic, which basically saps the life energy from all combatants. With her divine sense, she would know exactly when everyone is past the threshold, so that she doesn't trigger the trap prematurely. Let's see. So Dre comes back with Sub Queen. They are expendable because there are hundreds of them around the world. Krill would kill the Sub Queen if she is compromised.
Okay, so let's go over then.
Hex spore magic is essentially so it's blight magic, essentially necrotic blight magic.
Everything everything's cooked in there. We'll read his plan really quick. Because
Cole Art, shout out Cole Art. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for watching. Good day to you too, sir.
I don't want us to get too out of hand, right? So in regards to the scenario, and again, when writing these scenarios, right, I come in with a lack of knowledge as well.
Yeah.
Right. So at the moment, to answer your question, Ben, in regards to how many eggs were laying in this scenario, we're talking about 100. Only 100. Now we tracked slightly and say we weren't aware of the other Queen Slayer eggs. So the Queen Slayer eggs that of course only hatch when in
Krill
the event when the event that Krill needs another body. I keep wanting to say Quill so badly. Jesus, Krill. So those eggs gone, the queen itself gone, right? However, in the case of this scenario, we're keeping it slightly contained. But I'll read his plans. But the idea is to keep it slightly contained while also still being respectful to the character, what have you. But we'll read his plan and we'll elaborate a little further in a moment. Krill's plans. And of course, what we're going to do is read what he did, cross-reference what we know our heroes did, and see, did they make it happen with that limited knowledge? So, FYI, if he's gone unnoticed for this long, they're screwed. Exactly what he's been saying in the comments. His normal plans, Krill's normal plans, is to find a hospitable world for sub-hive queens. Find multiple areas for egg gestation. find local food sources for hive nourishment and biomass reinforcement, consume local life forms to evolve in order to withstand the planetary conditions, ensure that hive drones and hive guardians and royal guards are made from the best consumed organic material, and then ensure that multiple Queenslayer, like himself, are placed in other areas for replacement bodies should his original body be rendered mute. Send out scouts into the populace to learn how the natives think and their mannerisms and behaviors so that key points can be infiltrated. Get planetary natives to turn on each other and trigger a large-scale conflict. I need you to elaborate on that one. Use ongoing confusion and conflict to clean out the rest of the opposition. And if the planet is neatly woven as a people and separation is not an option, skip steps 8 and 9 and just invade by force. The last numbered thing here is use the most dangerous insects on the planet to spread confusion and to cause an indirect distraction. So here's what I'm going to do in light of the scenario, right? In light of what's going on, right? Because of the technology, because of what's going on, let's say Krill just really got here, really got started.
Because that was a question that Benji had. He was curious if this is a full scale invasion or the beginning of one.
We're gonna say it's the beginning of one. They notice they notice there's something wrong in the Rocky Mountains. Mech was sent out to investigate. Let's say this is the first bastion of eggs as Krill is about to get started with the rest of the world. Now, again, based on what you said about how fast that they hatch, it still works, right? It still makes sense. It still works, but we'll say it's the beginning of that scenario. So it's not worldwide yet, just to keep it a little bit more contained. Because again, with the way that some of these characters' powers and stuff work, if it was already at that point, based on what we know about the Verdant Mother, she'd have been all over the place already. She would have already been doing a lot of this around the world already. So what we'll do is just say it's the beginning of it. And again, I think that's if we could all agree on that, folks in the chat as well, Dre, Ben, if we could agree on that, just to make sure that it respects both characters and doesn't make the scenario too terribly convoluted. There's some extra information that's here as well. There's 6 more pieces or numbered pieces of information. Actually, should I finish reading that, or should we address any comments on the 10 that I've read so far?
For me, I'd say I think I like where we're at right now, because I agree. I would like to keep this like more like to the specific scenario and the specific battle at hand. So if they were to succeed here, then thumbs up success. You know what I'm saying? And then if it was a full scale, that can be addressed later on in a maybe a larger scale versus battle. That could be some an idea for later on. But specifically for this battle in itself, specifically, it is, you know what I mean, defeating this Krill, this one would be a success for them. From what I'm hearing is the rest of the eggs that were there have been neutralized. So I would say destroying of the eggs was a success. Now it just comes to cleanup crew taking care of the drones. What I will say is it throws me off a little bit that we weren't able to play off any of the other characters so much in its scenario, seeing as how Verdant Mother got there first, and she's kind of handling this scenario on her own right now. So this has really become a 1v1.
Slick.
If anything, it's ended up becoming a 1v1. Her
So
kind of holding her own. One v a whole army of ants. So we got some comments coming in here. Dre, if they consume, they adapt, they will take on meta abilities. If those are consumed, wow, okay, and they can morph. Doing so, they would take on the identities of others. So we're looking at some mimicry here. Key features in order to lay out. So we're feeling, I'm getting scroll feelings here as well. Confuse and destabilize groups that build infrastructures and laws i.e., military government. So they're here to infiltrate in its entirety. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we were going logical, this would end up being a whole kind of like
In game, bro.
in-game Ultimate Alliance kind of thing going on here. So would we be able to play with the fact that, like, all right, all the other heroes have gotten here now? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we could say that because
yeah.
if she's melded herself, she's got the hex going on in the cave.
So she's holding off the brunt of it. So now they're down one hero because she's holding the rest at bay, kind of sort of. So now we only got
Ali, Damien, Alexandria the Great,
and Forecast.
Yeah.
So really, they only have one real heavy hitter when it comes to the actual battle with Krill. What were you gonna say, Triage?
Have they been in any kind of physical contact?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
So no one's coordinated with one another as far as like verbally about what's going on.
So so yes, technically all the rest of them have been briefed. They have met up via Taharka at Pharaoh Industries. They've been briefed. They're en route. So those 4 have been in physical contact. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Verdant Mother's the only one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Verdant Mother, she's the only one that's out there on her own and just like working off her own battle IQ, combat IQ, which seems to be pretty damn high.
Yes.
All right.
With respects to that.
My concern is she get to this cave and open this fucker up thinking that they're them 4 thinking that they're about to help and they make the situation worse.
True. But I'd say at that point, before I'm pretty sure you said that this gets sealed off and everything before Krill is able to get back inside.
Yeah, that's what we're going with.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that Mech is dead at this point.
Well, actually, let's retract. No. The assumption was once the Queen was under attack, Krill and the rest of them would have showed up.
Oh, so she contained the battle to inside.
Right.
Yeah.
Now the question is, can he break out of any type of can he break out of hexes? And Ben, now a question for you based on what Dre just put. Would Vertigo work on this being? Is she is she human? I don't recall. I don't believe she is, right?
Let's see.
I don't think that was
it says origin is unknown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is she exactly? Unfortunately, quite a few of these characters they have the same kind of situation go. I don't think yeah.
So Benji says that she's not human.
She's not a human, right? Okay.
Yeah, so then that begs the question: will the vertical even work on her? Because her body wouldn't work, her brain wouldn't work the same as a human's.
Right. Okay. But regardless, at this moment, in order to try to contain it, her best bet is to just hold it at bay here. So, like you guys said, I think we could all agree she is sealed in there. She's not necessarily a non-factor, but this is all she could do right now. She's like, I got to keep it contained. Obviously, she's stronger than the drones, right? Krill is the real threat, but how fast they can move. Now, here's the problem. This is I feel like regardless will be a cool after credit scene, right? If they're able to take on the form of those they've eaten, right? Scroll situation, they're out there, and I would love to see their eyes shift to the race that they are really quick as they wander into a crowd of regular humans, right? Because regardless of what happens, they're cooked. The world is gonna be like everybody caught up on Invincible.
Yes, I am.
Okay, if you're not in the chat, you're not caught up on Invincible. I won't spoil it. How about this? I think it was season 1 or 2 when they went to Mars and the joints was on. Okay, like what if one was making it onto the planet, right? Or 2,
like Shapeshifter Man or whatever.
Right. What if those make it in there? Right. In your sewer system, they're gathering, right? Hint, nudge, nudge for those that know But yeah, so yeah, I imagine almost like all of Telluride was seemingly gone, right? So out there is, regardless of, now again, depends if Verdant Mother is after this battle, if she could even sense them within these human bodies or within this changed form, I don't even imagine that's going to be a thought process, right? Because otherwise, Krill would have been discovered. Otherwise, maybe even the eggs would be discovered before the hatching, right? We waited until, again, this is all the scenario, right? But within the context of the story written in ignorance, if you would, she did not sense it before it happened. She did not sense when Krill got to the Earth. There's a lot of chaos taking place. There's a lot of things happening. So what I'm going to executive order almost is the ones that took over those people in that town, that entire town, if they're not dead, or their form or these bugs, if you would, are playing a facade as them, and they are somewhere in the world.
They're out there.
They're out there. That's yeah.
So, again, as the scenario is with, since we haven't heard from the other heroes just yet within this scenario, there's nothing, we have no run of what they would do, so on and so forth too much. I would say, all right, Verdant Mother, she neutralized Krill, but again, he's still within this, inside this cave. And then again, you pose the question, would he be able to break out? But then we also got the Blight Hex going on as well. Would this Blight Hex actually kill him in that state?
Right. Because now is that, for clarification, Ben, is her putting the hex around the place the same blight magic as the one that was utilized to overtake the eggs in the beginning of the scenario? I'm curious.
Triage, you were gonna say something. What was that, bro?
Yeah, is that blight magic specific to just the eggs? Because what happens if she's in that form when these guys open the door?
She don't know they coming.
Yeah, she doesn't know that they're on the way.
They don't know what they're walking into. So yeah, if they walk in there and it is the same blight magic that was overtaking the eggs, then they might just be cooked. She's about to get some assist skills, bro. Like, it's done.
Some assist skills.
Now, actually, no, they won't. No, they won't. Clairvoyance.
She'll be able to see that they're coming.
Right. So either she'll stop using it, or Alexandria the Great would be like, no, don't go in there. Right. Hold the fort right here. Right. So either one of them would. Okay. She can also control the spell. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, she'll see it come. She'll see that they're coming. She'll be able to manipulate it to, certain area or clear paths for them to go through, so they wouldn't be able to get hit by the magic itself. So one thing I would say for Dre is that his psionics wouldn't work on her, at least on her powers, because she's magic. Psionic disruption only works on psychic abilities, since she's not using any psychic abilities besides her clairvoyance. But psionic disruption would cancel out her clairvoyance.
If she was human.
If she was human, you're right. Because what Ben said was that she's essentially an avatar of nature. So right. She's not necessarily, she's not, like levels 20 characters have reached godlike state. More specifically for her, she's more of an avatar of nature and higher magic than she is a hero. So she's an elemental. Well, we can say like elemental spirit. She's not human. So I don't. Yeah, I think I don't think the psionics would work at all. So she has him trapped in there. These other heroes come up. She opens up. They're in there. But again, the question is, would the battle have already been over using this blight magic in the side of the cave that Krill, the queen, the other eggs are also in?
I would dare say he's the virtually indestructible one.
Yeah,
so I would probably now when we talk about necrotic damage, then that's a whole nother situation that may affect him. But at the very least, based on the intel that we have, I'm confident in saying if the forces of the Dermistid beings, the numbers are definitely going to dwindle if you're talking about a consistent flow of necrotic damage.
It's like chip damage. That's the way I see it. For them, it'll be like chip damage.
And it's 10 hours worth.
Right.
Of chip damage. Even if they survive when the reinforcements show up. I mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry. Yeah, even if the reinforcements show up, then they might, they have an even better chance at overcoming that threat.
I mean, you can combine that with someone with potential backup that can manipulate electromagnetic energy, along with someone who's pyrokinetic.
Yeah.
Man, and you just listed Forecast and Damien.
Yeah. He
That's
can
perfect.
literally, so Damien himself, once they get in there, he can easily use his pyrokinetics to turn the inside of that cave, the rocks, into lava, flood the cave with lava. Forecast comes through with a nice, good, strong gust of wind, cools down the lava. Now you have rock. So he can solidify the entirety of the inside of the cave.
Hypothetically. Now,
Hypothetically.
unfortunately, so
we don't have those.
We don't have those. And so, man, we be coming up with some good what ifs.
I mean, that is one way to do it. Forecast and create a thunderstorm, have enough water to the point where this nigga makes a big ass bolt of electricity. Now everything's fried.
The unfortunate truth, though, is we have no statement from Forecast. So we can't even provide that route to victory. Everything is in the hands, really,
of Mother Verdict.
Right. By the time they pull up, I'm almost imagining, that first scene, the first couple episodes of Dragon Ball Z when the gang shows up and sees Goku already got a hole in his chest, right? Like that's it. Like there's no. It's like you said a second ago. It's really a 1v1 right now. Now, if they last long enough, again, the only plan is when they pull up the telescopic vision, but they're inside, so they would have to break in there. So then Damien and Forecast counter any attacks by seeing them beforehand. Yeah, but we don't. Let me read the rest of the plan.
Go ahead.
Any and all beings consumed, their knowledge and skills and working of their anatomy and ability are sent directly to the Hive Queen on their home world. So whatever knowledge that the people of Telluride, Colorado may have, and there's not really any confirmed metahumans in the case of this little amalgam situation that we have within these 3 episodes of the indie breakdown here, in the events that we've done so far. So it wouldn't be a lot of valuable information, at least initially, right? Now, for the ones that, again, obviously they've gotten away. We're late. We're late to the party, right? So they're within humanity right now. But then any abilities, metahumans, base, those drones will be consumed by the sub-high queen to be sent back out to the fleet to reinforce the colony. So hypothetically, if say Mech had superhuman abilities, he does have great knowledge and understanding of this high tech. Hypothetically, if one of them ate him, they would now have his smarts, knowledge of the tech that he utilizes, and potentially be able to build and construct that type of technology to add to them. In my assumption, correct me if I'm wrong there, Dre. The rest of the plan that he had here, he said that if Mech was in the cave by himself,
he's gone. He's gone. Yeah,
he's gone. Which in most shows, 9 times out of 10,
the first person that encounters the villain's usually dead. What was that, Triage?
I said Mech is casualty award. Mech is somewhere right now, hung upside down, getting fed to a fucking mimic.
Oh my god!
It is Mech's ass for dinner. I'm sorry.
So if the Guardian and the Royal Guards were inside when she did the spore attack, when she did that, I don't believe, from what we've gathered here, they have any resistance to that kind of solidification magical ability that she used on the eggs, essentially. But in regards to their positioning, are we saying the only things that would have left the cave on their own are the drone eggs? The Hive Guardians and the Royal Guards would just stand guard next to the Queen. Let us know. But yeah, if he's dead, that wasn't him contacting the others. That would be the Queenslayer, Arg, Quill, so they can really, truly mimic. Because after he would have been consumed, they would know he was supposed to check in, and they mimic bioorganic life that's consumed. I will say, because we saw him get attacked, right? So I don't think, in the context of the story, they would attack their own in an attempt to trick them, right? Maybe, I don't know. Well, clarify for me, but I don't think, based on how we had the scenario of, hey, oh no, something's behind me, boom, knocked out. I don't think they would, again, your character's better than I know them, but I don't think they would go to that length to sell the lie when they could have just checked in and hell even said, nothing's there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at the moment, I probably would nix that one right there. But then the next thing, there's just these two more. They would know what, and I actually read the last one. They would know what he knows, and him calling to get a team would be a trap. And then the last thing was how we described the drone eggs take 2 weeks to hatch, and then they reach adulthood in 2 hours. Then there's which obviously all the drones are there. The hive guards, they take 4 days and 1 hour to reach adulthood. And then the royal guards take 24 hours and 20 minutes to reach adulthood. And the queen slayers are born. Right. Yeah, and we read all that. So
yeah.
okay.
So what I'm yeah. So what I'm getting from this is that the guards, the royal guards, they haven't hatched yet, because looking at the time frame that we're in, we're saying that this is, he just got there, Krill just started doing what he's doing. The drones are out there, but the only one that is awake, as in the higher level, is Krill himself.
Well,
and the queen.
Actually, if they're hatching, it takes 2 weeks for the drones to hatch. So if he had enough time to drop those during that 2 week span, actually, here's the problem. And if I said it wrong, I apologize, or we missed it. But breaking it down a little bit more, the drone eggs take 2 weeks to hatch. Met gets there while they're hatching, right? But if they were planted or jestized, if you would, at the same time, then the hive guardians only took that 4 days. So within that 2 week span, the hive guardians have hatched already. And then they take an hour to reach adulthood. So they're solid. The royal guard takes 25 hours and 20 minutes to reach adulthood. Since there's no clarification on how long it takes for them to hatch, we can assume, based on the previous statement, that at the very minimum, it'll take 4 days. So at the same time the hive guardians are born, the royal guards are born. One's in adulthood and within 24 hours. The other one, it takes 4 days. But since it's been 2 weeks,
everyone's full grown at this point.
Everyone's full grown. And again, where we still are correct is the queen slayers are still locked away. So nothing really changed except for the fact that the royal guards and the hive guardians are fully grown. However, the questions are, if she uses that ability, are the guardians and the royal guard and the hive guardians, are they affected by that blight magic? Which I would dare say yes.
I would too. Based off the card, he doesn't have any resistance to any of these, to any of those. The virtually indestructible part, as a part of his power stats, I would say that would be more so towards physical attack. You know what I mean? The physical attack, which would be, like an exoskeleton type thing, like that I was saying before. I would say that would be more so just, I'm assuming that's just towards physical attacks. Again, since we're going specifically based on the cards, it's nothing stating that he or his race has any resistance to magic or any kind of toxins or anything so along those lines.
Right. Okay, this is good. Okay, I think we have a verdict. If we go through his equipment one more time, and it's going to be a part of my personal verdict, I'm very interested to hear you guys' thoughts as well. Eggs are a part of his equipment, which means he came with quite a few, right? We don't have an exact number, and on average, based on what Dre is saying, it's not 100. There's hundreds that's going to be planted across the planet as a whole. So the assumption is he's still got plenty on him, right? So my initial verdict at the moment, and then we can kind of, not necessarily vote, but whatever the majority ends up saying, that'll be the victor. But my thought process is, again, it's just starting. He hasn't planted all of them. He still has some on them. He is trapped. For all intents and purposes at the moment, he is trapped. And there's nothing necessarily that can get through or prevent blight magic from hurting him. So everything inside of there is getting clipped up. But in my opinion, an act of self-preservation allows or uses his control over other various insects to come in, whether it's flies or other bugs that are burrowing in the ground, stuff like that, to come in and actually take those eggs from them. I don't know how big the eggs are. So if they're as big as the joints from the aliens and stuff like that, which that's how I imagine it. Drake, confirm whatever the case is. But if you carrying around, I doubt you're carrying hundreds of eggs the size of your dang chest around, right? I imagine they start off smaller.
Right.
So whatever those eggs are, I almost imagine them as seeds almost. I would imagine that he would utilize his control over the various insects to get those eggs out of there, which would include other Queenslayer eggs. So this version of Krill will perish, as well as everything in that cave. However, because the eggs got away, they failed the objective of destroying the eggs that he had on his person, not just the eggs that were in the cave proper. And because of that, the ones that have taken, the facade of humanity, right, as well as the ones that will eventually grow up, they are out there in the world. However, one of the objectives is complete in the form of Krill being defeated by the Vernon Mother, but the other joints are out there. So they win the battle, but the war. That's where I'm currently at now.
What do you think, Triage?
I agree with Lloyd.
Yeah, I'd have to also agree as well. I feel like they won that battle. Technically, if you look at the scenario was too. It wasn't a complete success because at this point, Mech's dead. Like we said, Mech's gone. He gone.
Mech's gone. He gone.
He gone.
Oh yeah, Mech's gone. Mission failed.
Yeah. So I would say it was not a complete success. Yeah, they defeated that Krill. They destroyed those eggs. Did not rescue Mech. And I would say that would be a problem of the response time. It's absolutely the response time. I feel like if you're a superhero organization, man, you need to work on that response time.
So here's the unfortunate thing in regards to this amalgam world, right? Taharka is one of the very few people that have the resources to attempt to see these things happen, right? In regards to satellites and stuff like that. He did not sign up to be a superhero response team. It's just what we've merged together. Last year, we did a March Madness event that saw all of the strongest heroes face off in a multiverse tournament, right? And then from there, it was just like, you know what? If we do that, right, we did an event follow-up, right, where it's like, okay, well, all the strongest heroes were gone. What if Valesse from Concrete Comics attacked, right? So that was our Mother of Chaos event where they were fighting to defend Earth, right? And so some people got clipped up in there, they died, and so on and so forth, whether they were infiltrating the ship or their last line of defense on Earth. But the heroes did succeed with a high diff. Right. Now, following that, we did, now, obviously, there was like a year gap, but stick with me. Then we moved over to the Incendiary's Rampage event that we did a couple months back, where Incendiary is in underground Atlanta. Mind you, again, Taharka is like, who all is out there, right? We have these satellites. We see these people actively trying to help people. What information do we have on them? It's like Cecil from whatchamacallit, except he doesn't have the organization to do it. It's just like, you got to get Donald. We make some calls, right? We
He's
don't have
using what he has on hand.
Just make some calls. I don't know who. Just call somebody. That's unfortunately Taharka's position.
No, okay, so he's not an organization. He just happens to be a guy who's able to see the shit going on and is doing his best, doing his damnedest to try to help and get people where they gotta go to help.
Yeah.
So he's like pre Cecil, from Invincible. He's like eventually in time, like he's gonna find the problems within how things are running and get them, and then eventually could get into a full superhero response kind of organization. But yeah, I'm pretty sure our consensus is pretty solid. So how do you rate if they don't meet all the objectives? It's a fail, or
no? We will for the sake of I'm thinking optics in regards of in-universe, right? The heroes have lost twice. In-universe, Incendiary 1, Underground Atlanta was wiped off the map. Episode 2, the Elites, when Hopebreaker attacked, And what ended up happening is, again, a little bit of story context for what's happening in this, episode 3 now, right? When they went to Icarus Metro City, which is another indie comic book series, but their city, Icarus Metro City, they have not metahumans. They have paranormals. They have what's called paranormals. The elites aren't paranormals per se, but they are in that same vein. There's paranormals. There's the whatever. In regards to indie, there's 3 like mutant-esque type situations. Again, the paranormals for Icarus Metro, and then the other 2 escape me. However, what ends up happening is the elites go to Icarus Metro City, and they are like, we are that next evolution, right? Stealing from Magneto a little bit. We are that next evolution, and they're trying to hold us back. Take back your freedom. This world is ours. The name of the episode is We Are the Future, right? And so without lifting a finger, really, because Hopebreaker attacked 2 of the members in there, it only further motivated and militarized these paranormals to be like, you know what? He's right. We didn't even do nothing, and they sent them in there, knowing good and doggone well, not thinking about the fact like the only reason why these heroes were here is because we had gotten intel that the elites are there and they're well-known villains. But to manipulate the masses, they just played on that emotion and said, they sent people to y'all's home. They snuck people into y'all's home and tried to kill us. They're trying to kill you. Join us to make sure this never happens again. And so, unfortunately, that mobilized that entire section. And again, just by heart of the cards, luck of the draw, unfortunately for the heroes in verse, also Incinerary is a type of mutant in and of himself as well. And correct, Dre, Incinerary is your character as well. What is the name of what he is? I do not recall, and it is pissing me off. I can't remember. But his situation kind of he's crazy. He's freaking crazy. But they are all something that's not exactly human that are also trying to prove that dominance. And what he's trying to do is discredit the heroes, right? So all of these objectives align, and unfortunately, they're all on the East Coast as well. So the problem is going to be if these forces link up, the whole East Coast is going to be in shambles because all of them are already rising up and attacking Jersey, Delaware, all these places in the northeast, excuse me. So we're seeing a rise of various situations. Abnormals. Thank you. Abnormals. So there's the abnormals, there's the paranormals, and then there was the other thing from the elites that escaped me. But again, all of them are kind of somewhat shunned amongst humanity, somewhat looking to understanding who they are, and the elites are playing on that emotion and saying, we are that future. Take your future.
So far, this amalgam world is going all to shit.
Yes, because again, all of the strongest heroes, Pantheon, Soul, Acolyte, All-Star, all of these characters were a part of this multiverse tournament, but in universe, they don't know what happened. They all just disappeared. They were all pulled from this plane, this dimension, this world, and they're fighting this. And then that's what that matchup with Soul, Acolyte, and Atridian was on an alternate Earth somewhere that's devoid of life outside of them. They were locked into a battle, right? And so the strongest heroes that you'll find on the database or whatever, for right now, to try to put some shine on characters that aren't like god tier characters, right? Now, of course, again, because the newcomers of Damien, of the Verdant Mother are here, they weren't included. They weren't here last year. They weren't in the group last year. So we're playing on the fact like these are newcomers. This is completely new. That's why they weren't taken away and stuff like that. But these other characters had been here, so we were leveling the playing field almost, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, this world has gone to shit. Like it's awful. It is.
And now, but then now with the addition of Krill and his army out there getting out there, right. And then being able to absorb and become and use those meta powers and abilities, and now you have a whole army of supernaturals and abnormals that are rising up. They're just sitting there waiting to be consumed.
So yeah, exactly that. So yeah, to answer your question in regards to optics, they need a win right now. So yes, they're going to be like mission because actually, you know what? Yes, it's mission accomplished. It's their knowledge. They destroyed the eggs that they saw, and they defeated Krill that they saw. Mech died, but we'll say 2 out of 3 mission success. But in credit scene, surprise, it's not over.
No.
The war's not done. Krill will return in at a later point, right? Because he's like Ultron. He has the potential to just keep spawning.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So,
And so now Damon had said, Dre had said earlier that, you know, if the Variant Mother was still in the cave with, you know, with Krill, he would have went for her. But I think he missed that. Ben had said that she had melded into the walls.
Yeah.
And that's how she sealed the cave. She became the rocks.
Right.
So she's no longer in the cave anymore. So she just, she is the cave. And then I would say she just melded it together and then dipped out and just let them in there for chip damage.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And with nature manipulation, that's light work for somebody like her.
So all she's doing is just holding that at bay until she no longer senses their life signs. But again, like you said, you know, they may have won this battle, but you know, and you know, Dre also said that he comes back more resilient. So we have to see how that rematch against Mother, Verdant Mother takes place. How that rematch works.
Fucking cockroach doomsday.
Yeah, I was about to say cockroach. I was about to say doomsday. Yeah. But no, this amalgam world that you have going on here has been wow.
I wouldn't want to live in it. I wouldn't want to live in it.
No, not at all. They're shit. That's this is like in-game level type shit going on that they got right now.
And it's back to back. Like, considering his rampage happened, there's like, oh my god, we lost Underground Atlanta. Sir, we just got word that the elites are entering Icarus Metro City. Are you kidding me? We need somebody out there and that like it's happening like that. Consistent, like DC Universe Online. There's always a mission. There's always somebody doing something somewhere.
So this man need to get that hero response team up and running. He needs to be like, you know what, something needs to be done. We need to take drastic actions.
Right,
everywhere is fallen. All heroes assemble on me. We need to figure this out. Yeah, exactly. Who's left?
Invincible, where it's like we saw all the heroes that they have available, bro. What do they got? Like 50 people tops for the whole world? Like, you know what I mean? Like
not even.
Yeah, done. And so I use that example because when it comes to these events, when it comes to these battles, now there's exhibition matches where all characters can take part, and anybody that's within the indie breakdown, have fun, talk mess, create your own events, do all stuff, all the other stuff. In regards to like the official matches that are going to be numbered episodes like this, right? In regards to the official battles that are like, hey, this is the next battle, this is reckoning. There's only like 60 characters in the database. So we are literally just like how the Invincible versus was like, there's not enough heroes. We're stretched thin. We need help. And then a chunk of them are in a God knows where battle, you know, elsewhere in the cosmos.
Sounds like we need a new hero rising.
We do. So database may be opening soon. I'm gonna finish Midnight Comic stuff up first, but when we get that in order, database will open up at a time that will be announced. And I hope.
I got a few I could definitely add to that.
This is
I.
And when it now and again, because I got some typos in there, sure, but it was a lot to put all of those together and type everything out, all that other stuff. So it was a lot. And to be transparent, my Adobe subscription ended, so we're gonna wait until I get that back. But
so I just re-up all my stuff too. I just re-up on everything.
Right. So once we get other things in order, the database will open up. And Dre said he's gonna flood the site with heroes. Yeah. So the hope is that when we open it up, everybody does it. And I'm probably gonna have to put a task force together myself to be like, all right, this is what you do this, you do that, and let's get it done. Because of course I got to add it to the website, create the link and stuff like that for their own individual pages and stuff. So that can add up and be a lot, especially when we're also doing Midnight Comic stuff. Because in case you guys haven't noticed, this is obviously has turned into its own brand in and of itself, right? It started off as just a show. Anybody that's new here that might not have known, Indie Breakdown started off as a show where we literally just interview the creators. We do a breakdown of the character. That's those breakdown videos that you guys have seen in the past. Then we do a creator class. We're all 10 for each season. We just finished season 3, so all 10 people within the season come back. They talk about who they think they can win the indie breakdown or indie versus. We play the breakdown videos so they have an understanding. They tell us their game plan based on what they've learned. We do that, then we roll for the official match. I write out a scenario with my verdict on there, and that's how that goes. But ever since the end of season 2, the group came about at the end of season 2, and it has blown up ever since. So it's taking much more of my attention than I thought it would. And so now that we're kind of in this cooling off space, we're really trying to get the rest of I think the foundation is there, but really get fully organized in regards to what we're going to do here with this, so that we can get back to the show, so that really I can get back to Midnight Comic stuff as well. So just getting organized and figuring out how to make this, streamline this, so that you guys can continue to enjoy the show, enjoy the group, and everything continues to work as this beautifully well-oiled machine that we're building here. And it doesn't lose any of that the vigor that it has right now. So yeah, history there, a little bit of what we're trying to do to move forward, and all that other good stuff. But I hope you guys enjoyed having the super breakdown in here, man. How do y'all feel about this right now? How are you feeling?
I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a great time. I definitely had a great time, and I look forward to taking a look at all you guys' characters, doing a rundown. We are very very fact based, guys, when we run this. So so a lot of it we're gonna run off the scenario, off the cards, and then whatever was said within the comments. That's really what we're really going to try to run off of a lot, just to make sure to keep everything even and balanced and fair to all the characters and the respective worlds.
The one thing I would like to say though is that if you would like us to break down a character, I would like a little bit of a background of the character's personality.
Okay.
Because I feel like personality plays a lot in decisions.
Yes.
And it's like we can go over powers and stats all we want. Like someone can have the power to destroy a galaxy, but it's like, would they
do that? Right.
Yeah. And it's also one of those things like, all right, this person might be this weak, but if they're smarter than everyone else in the room.
Right. So everybody watching, I encourage y'all to every Saturday tune into these lives. At the moment, it's every Saturday. If it changes, we'll let you guys know. But tune in on Saturdays so that you can speak to your character. Also, within the group, we continue to encourage everybody to continue talking about your character. Ask questions, challenge each other. But again, like Triage said, tell us about the personality. Tell us what they do personally. Tell us what their favorite color is, what they like to eat. Let's really get to understand your characters behind the mask, more than just the reality warping god tier character that they are. Tell us more about who exactly these people are, again, behind that mask, so that when we get to these matches, when we get to the events and stuff, now again, there's 4,000 people in here. We're not going to memorize everything, right? But if you're here to speak to your character, much like Dre was, much like Ben was today, it makes it that much easier. So no, absolutely agreed. I know when we did the cards, we didn't include that, especially since some characters like the Nexus, right? There's still so much time to change the characters as they're still developing their books, right? They're still developing what's next. Like this might be like, hey, I got a cool character design, but I really don't know beyond that, right? And so that's why that's not a part on the card at the moment, right? But anyway, tangent aside, absolutely agree. Please, everybody, stay consistent, stay connected, right? Stay tapped in so that you guys can speak to your characters, so that we can continue to fall in love with the amazing characters out here in the indie world. I would love for you guys to give your essentially a call to action. Let the people know what you guys have coming up, where they can find you next, and then we'll get ready to close out. Unless there's any other comments about the match proper.
For me, which just a message to everyone that based on what we were just talking about, because I feel like when you give your character that level of personality, we're all indie creators here. What we want is people to see us. We want that visibility, and when you give that personality to your character, that gives people a chance to be like, yo, I see myself in this character. I feel like this character is a lot like me, or so on and so forth. So that's going to draw them more to your character, which means they're going to draw more to your comics, which means they're going to draw more to your platform. So, giving your characters that, strong level of personality is, I feel like it's quintessential to us, to all of us getting out there. Because again, me and Triage, we're also creators as well. We have 10 plus projects that we're working on, and another, the quarter and Triage, she has 18 that are already done. So we definitely understand. We want to make sure that you guys are getting the visibility that you guys need, want, and deserve, because this is a lot of work that you guys are putting in. So add that extra cherry on top, that would draw your viewers in, that would draw your target audience in. And also think about that. Think about your target audience when you're creating these characters. Think about who you want them to relate to. Because if you look at Superman, who loves Superman? Who's that target audience that's like, oh, Superman, that's the small town, growing up, going to the big city, people who envision more for themselves. They love Superman because he is the embodiment of, working hard, getting what you need. You may have all these powers. You can wipe out a city. You can throw a planet, but still sit down and have dinner with your mom every night.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's going to draw them in. And we all know everyone who loves Batman, you're not the greatest people, but no, just joking. But no, the personality is what's going to draw your audience. So I would definitely say that. And we want to help you guys get there. That's what our platform is about. Like Triage said, if you guys want us to break down any specific characters, like I said, we mostly do mainstream characters, but if you bring your character to us, they got that full backstory, and we can really dive into it. Because again, we want to make sure that we are all making quality content here that we can put out to the masses. Make sure that your guys are giving us something that we can really rock off of. Like our shows normally run between about an hour and a half to 2 hours, but sometimes we've had quite a few that have ran up to 3 hours, like this one right here.
Yeah.
Like this one right here. If you give it, if the content's there, we're gonna explore it. With many characters that have multiversal ties. We're not just talking about the mainstream, but we're talking about Earth 151, this version of the character, that version of the character, what they're able to do compared to what this version of them able to do. We love this shit, man. We love this shit. Triage, anything?
That's pretty much it.
Okay. So if you guys are interested in any of your favorite, mainstream characters being broken down, tune in on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But I will say, tomorrow is our 100th episode. We are hitting that 100th episode milestone. We're not going to go too crazy just because on, what we're able to do right now, but we're going over the one, the only General Zod. And we're also paying tribute to, the late and great Val Kilmer, who recently passed this past week, by going over and breaking down Batman Forever, which is one of my favorite Batman films. So definitely tune in tomorrow. But after that, we will be taking about 3 to 4 week hiatus, doing some rebranding, make sure we're able to fit in shows like this on Saturdays, fit in our show as well on Sunday. So we're doing a lot of restructuring just so we can make sure that we're bringing out the best and most quality content to you guys. But if you guys want to see what we do, want an idea of what we do, you can check out our Instagram, check out our Facebook. We don't do that TikTok, all that flip flop, all that. No, we don't do that, because at the end of the day, I don't want to put mad content on it and then it gets banned again.
My
But
bad.
but we definitely check out our YouTube. All of our episodes are up there on our YouTube from the very, very, very beginning. And as you watch these episodes from the beginning, you will be able to see how we have grown, how we have evolved, the different things that we've tried, because we're human. We're human just like you guys. But definitely tune in, because we got some big things coming for you guys. So again, tune in right here, the Super Breakdown podcast on YouTube, Kick, Twitch, you name it, we everywhere. that might actually be a problem, but we everywhere.
Yeah.
But definitely tune in. We love to hear what you guys have to think. We love comments jumping in, bouncing off of each other. It's great. So we do have a third host, Darth Legacy himself, Jason M40. He is on our shows on Sundays. It seems like we'll be running, just me and Triage on Saturdays, but Sunday it'll be all three of us, and you get to see the madness that ensues on our shows. the absolute madness that ensues on our show.
Listen, quote Dave Chappelle, you best not bring your kids.
Best not bring your kids. We try just give everyone a heads up. We try our best not to offend, but at the same time, we also try to stay true to ourselves and our thoughts. And if we do offend anyone, it's just jokes. It's all jokes. It's just all jokes. So please, by all means, don't take anything seriously when we go off on our little side tangents, which are a lot. But we really appreciate you, Lord, and all of Midnight Comics for reaching out to us and offering for us to take on this massive endeavor that you have here. And we look forward to really bringing this another level up for you. So when you get to that next level, you can take it on, and because I know we got plans.
Oh yeah,
we got plans. We got plans. So
near future.
Near future. So keep an eye out. Midnight Comics. Keep an eye out for Indie Breakdown, Indie versus Breakdown, and we're watching the Indie Breakdown. So we actually might reach out to some of you guys if for interviews if we like what you guys are doing on Indie Breakdown. Just binge your mind a little bit more on your character, because that's also what we do.
Or you can always reach out to us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Feel free to reach out to us. Our DMs are always open on Instagram. Best way to contact us is via Instagram, and we can get it working from there. So we definitely look forward to doing this a lot more. We had a great time. But yeah, check us out and tune in tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our 100th episode celebration. And then after that, we'll see you guys in May.
Okay. Guys, once more, I can't say thank you enough. This turned out even better than I thought it would. So thoroughly impressed. This was amazing. And again, to everybody that's watching, I hope you guys are ready, because every Saturday, these are the voices that you're going to hear unless something changes. I'll probably pop up in maybe 2 more of them, I think. And then they're going to come with the 5. So, but yeah, so bless you, dear. So yeah, again, to close out, thank you all for tuning in. Again, that verdict, let us know if you guys agree, disagree. Throw it in the comments, talk more about it, post pictures, stats, whatever you guys want to, defend the arguments, keep the conversation going, right? And of course, anybody that's new within the group, again, feel free to share your characters all day, every day. We ask that any promo, specifically links and all this other stuff, be contained on promo Sundays. However, I do want to bring up that we did start a new initiative. So as you know, there's a bunch of people that did start Kickstarters around the same time. And a lot of them are within this group, right? We asked everybody specifically in this group to sign up, or asked if they had Kickstarters going on. So we started an initiative called the $1 challenge. Essentially, $1, every dollar counts, right? So 4,000 of us in this group, 400 people, 4,000 people in this group, which if everybody gave $1 to each campaign, is $4,000. Everybody that has a campaign within this group would be successful, right? And so if that works out, I want this to be a monthly thing, right? Because all of us deserve to be able to continue to pursue these passions. However, everything in the world is trying its best to prevent all of us from being able to do that. So why not
Preach.
do that? So it's only $1, right? And with some people doing stretch goals and stuff like that, you're still getting something out of it, right? Regardless of what that is. And even if you don't get anything out of it, you're helping your peers, because a good majority of us in here are indie creators, content creators, what have you. We're keeping and helping grow this ecosystem. So the call to action this evening is definitely support one another. Continue to support one another. You can find the $1 challenge on indiebreakdown.com under the support section. You'll see the full list of Kickstarters that are available. And when you click on the image, it will take you directly to each of those Kickstarters. I am happy to say that about 4 of the Kickstarters that were on that list are funded. Don't Combust was already funded, but they were doing late pledges. So please definitely check that out. Even if it's done, even if they're funded already, every dollar counts towards them being able to do more. Because I'm sure, much like me, I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all are tired of having to wait 1 to 2 years to see what happens next in your favorite indie comics. This is how we help alleviate that by sharing, liking, talking about, promoting one another. And of course, at the end of the day, creators need money in order to be able to create some of these things, right? So again, dollar challenges on indiebreakdown.com. Check that out. Support if you can. And of course, that's it. I was about to go into a rambling stage. We're not going to do that. We've been here for 3 hours already. So everybody that's watching, again, thank you all for that support. Thank you for joining us as we continue to redefine power scaling in the indie world. And we'll catch you guys next time. We're out.
And as always, remember, fuck prep time.
Fuck prep time.
Welcome to the Super Breakdown Podcast, where cosmic tales unfold. Join Power Maximus, Lord Triage, and the Darth Legacy Jason M40 on a journey through heroic realms where legends are born and destinies entwine. Delve into the cosmic currents, unraveling the mysteries of superheroes, villains, and champions. Embrace the cosmic energy that binds us all and let your journey begin. This is the Super Breakdown Podcast. Enter the cosmic saga.
Going on, everybody? Lloyd Jones with Midnight Comics here, and we'd like to introduce you guys to our show, The Indie Breakdown, a show where we break down your favorite indie comic book characters' power, stats, and abilities, and get them ready for an eventual indie versus matchup. All Indie Breakdown episodes go live first on Spotify and on Patreon, with them eventually showing up on YouTube. So if you guys want to check out The Indie Breakdown and learn more from your favorite indie comic book creators, now's the time to do so. We hope you guys decide to tune in, and remember, until next time, midnight is coming.
Hi, I go by Lady Mandalore, the creator of Roomful of Blurs. Do you have a whiteboard in your room? Do people get a glazed over look in their eye when you start to explain things to them? Well, come join me every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we can talk comics and get to know some new creators of color, only on YouTube and Twitch.
What's going on, everybody? It's me, Calvin, from the Icarus Podcast, and I just want to say that we got new episodes coming next Saturday and every Saturday after that. So all I will have to say from here is keep enjoying the show. You can check us out, www.icarusmetrocomics.com. Check us out on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and more. See y'all next time.
Join the Pulse. We're excited to announce the launch of Heartline Comics' newest line, the Barcode Collection. Our fresh drop just hit the internet and is turning heads. Imagine this: you're rocking our merch, and friends can scan the barcodes to instantly connect with the Heartline Comics website. It's a game changer. Stay ahead of the curve and never miss a beat. Subscribe to our website for exclusive alerts on the latest merch drops and the newest comics hitting the shelves. Be part of the Heartline community and show off your style with pride. Trust us. You don't want to miss this.
Yeah.